stars. How we get this far, like we're the only ones in this world. Like we're the only ones in this world. Like we're the only ones in this world. In this world, only ones in this world, only ones in this world. Call out my name, cut through the sound of the rain. No matter how I feed the flame, you know I feel the darkness and the pain. All of the ways we tried to break free from the night. Now I see that I got everything I need. It's alright, I'm on fire, I'm alive, 'cause now I fly so high, so high. Light up the skyline, let's do it this time, like it's a whole new colorful world. Like we're the only ones in this world. Like we're the only ones in this world. Never thought we'd get this far, burning like the stars. How we get this far, like we're the only ones in this world. Like we're the only ones in this world. Like we're the only ones in this world. In this world, only ones in this world, only ones in this world. Call out my name, cut through the sound of the rain. No matter how I feed the flame, you know I feel the darkness and the pain. All of the ways we tried to break free from the night. I'm on fire, I'm alive, 'cause now I fly so high, so high. Light up the skyline, let's do it this time, like it's a whole new colorful world. Like we're the only ones in this world. Like we're the only ones in this world. Never thought we'd get this far, burning like the stars. How we get this far, like we're the only ones in this world. Like we're the only ones in this world. Like we're the only ones in this world. In this world, only ones in this world, only ones in this call out my name, cut through the sound of the rain. No matter how I feed the flame, you know I feel the darkness and the pain. All of the ways we tried to break free from the night. You know we made it out, we found the light. I fly so high, so high, light up the skyline. Let's do it this time, like it's a whole new vibrant world. Like we're the only ones in this world. Like we're the only ones in this world. Now I see that I got everything I need. It's alright, I'm on fire, I'm alive, 'cause now I fly so high, so high. Light up the skyline, let's do it this time, like it's a whole new colorful world. Like we're the only ones in this world.
executed.
Sometimes working in a different way can be the best vacation. Seagull Circle, predicting victory. Clean up the trash! Break the boundary between sky and sea. You're not welcome at my beach. Get them! Beach sweepers! Follow your orders! Let's go! You're not welcome at my beach. Go! The sea here is dangerous. Clean up the trash!
Excuse me.
Hugging Steve! Victory!
Yes, yeah.
Another round. Sure, but how about a smoother phone next time?
Realme 14. Performance beyond limits.
Working in a different way can be the best vacation. Seagull circle, predicting victory. Clean up the trash. Break the boundary between sky and sea. You're not welcome at my beach. Get them. Beach sweepers, follow your orders. Let's go. You're not welcome at my beach. Go. The sea here is dangerous. Clean up the trash.
Excuse me.
Hugging Steve. Victory.
Yes, yeah.
Another round. Sure, but how about a smoother phone next time?
Realme 14. Performance beyond limits.
The unfaithful must be executed.
Sometimes working in a different way can be the best vacation. Seagull Circle, predicting victory. Clean up the trash. Break the boundary between sky and sea. You're not welcome at my beach. Get them. Beach sweepers, follow your orders. Let's go. You're not welcome at my beach. Go. The sea here is dangerous. Clean up the trash.
Excuse me. Another round. Sure, but how about a smoother phone next time?
Realme 14, performance beyond limits.
The unfaithful must be executed.
Sometimes working in a different way can be the best vacation. Seagull circle, predicting victory. Clean up the trash. Break the boundary between sky and sea. You're not welcome at my beach. Get them. Beach sweepers, follow your orders. Let's go. You're not welcome at my beach. Go. The sea here is dangerous. Clean up the trash.
Excuse me. Welcome everybody to the Wildcard King Series Spring Season 2025. I'm your caster Moman. Joined with me today is Holler TV. Holler, how you feeling, bro?
I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. We had a bit of a missed day yesterday. We weren't able to cast, but we're here now, and that's all that matters. Of course, today's going to be the final day of the WKS. We're going to find out exactly what's going on in the world of the WKS realm. There's been some, dare I say, drama at the end of the day, but we've got one single match today. It's going to be a best of 5. It will be an interesting one here.
Yeah, this is, I think, the upper bracket grand finals. So in place of another team, Fearless Esports will be playing Paws Gaming, of course. For the full news, which we are not too sure of, we will have to find out on our official socials because we ourselves are not aware of the full details that has been going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think that there was a little bit of drama. There was maybe some, dare I say, it's not the greatest situation what happened. There obviously there have been rumors. I don't want to spread anything out. There will, of course, as you've said, stay tuned to those official channels to figure out exactly what's going on. But again, this is the matchup that we've kind of been looking forward to. It was a bit of a shakeup in the playoffs on Friday, especially since Impunity had beaten Fearless, and we thought that they were going to go to the lower bracket against Paradise Esports. But it looks like right now it's just going to be Fearless Esports going up against Paws Gaming here.
Yeah, Fearless Esports versus Paws Gaming. So this is going to be in the upper bracket grand finals where they have faced each other multiple times, right? They faced each other once during the qualifiers as well. Of course, these are our 2 qualifier teams. And of course, moving into the regular season, they faced off on the last day once again, where the scores were swapped. Paws Gaming getting the better of Fearless Esports. So gotta say, right now it's tied up 1-1 in this upper bracket grand finals. We go into that best of 5 global band pick, of course. Then they are finally gonna decide who's gonna go into the grand finals.
Yeah, I mean, these guys were both 1 and 2 going into the playoffs. They've been playing nothing but best of 3s in the regular season, but we're now into the playoffs where every game is going to be a best of 5 aside from the grand finals. And so this is going to be a bit of an epic chess match, especially in the draft. You talked about the global ban pick, always very important, especially since, we've had this in Honor King system since 2018. This has been a staple throughout. Of course, you can't pick the same heroes going into game to game. So going into that last potentially 5th game could be kind of drastic as you got to dig deep into the hero pool to ensure that you've got the best strategy in that one.
Yeah, versatility is extremely important in this one, right? Best of 5. If we do the math here, that's very simple. 25. So it's 5 times 5. That will be 25 unique heroes for every single team. So that means 50 different heroes, not including the bans, of course. The bans, of course, there will only be 4 bans for each team. First 2 in that first phase. Then, of course, next 2 for each team in the second phase as well. So we don't talk about the ultimate battle yet, but we are going to have it in the grand finals. So all that is for the stake of going to KWC. Only one team will get that ticket through. Currently, we do have Paradise Esports waiting in the lower brackets as well. So any team that loses here will have to face them again in a best of 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. If you're looking at some of the other regions, they had MKL had 3 slots, Indonesia and PKL. They both had 3 slots themselves. But the WKS, only one team makes it to the KWC. So it's even more important that you do end up winning this one out. You, again, don't want to show everything. You talked about the fact that this is the winner bracket finals. Obviously, it'd be huge going into the grand finals. But are you looking to save potentially some strats as you go in? Maybe you go play against Paradise Esports, which has not been ultimately the strongest of the top 2 teams here. But this is a potential opportunity where you want to just save those strats for that grand finals where everything is at stake.
Yeah, and for those of you that are wondering what's going on, why is this the upper bracket finals? Of course, do stay tuned to our official socials for the official announcement, because currently we ourselves, we don't have the full story. We don't want to be telling you one side of the perspective. You want to find out the full details before we can finalize everything on what has happened yesterday. So after the investigations or whatever that needs to be done has concluded, of course, you guys will have the full news. You guys will have the full scoop. So don't worry about that. Just worry about what's going to happen today, which is we are going to decide the top 2 seeds already. Fearless Esports and Paws Gaming, they will be playing off in this best of 5. So matchup wise, we've talked about this before, where they've been facing each other time and time again. And Fearless Esports, I gotta say, right, they are the best of both worlds. They can play slow and they can play fast. Meanwhile, for Paws Gaming, they've been the speed runners of the regular season. They finished games in record time, 6 minutes and 47 seconds, being the fastest game in that regular season against Ultra Rare Esports.
Yeah, I like the way the Paws Gaming plays, because it's one of those things where if you just like pedal to the metal, let's get going, right? Yes, they've had some stumbles against Fearless Esports, but this is a team that plays very well from when they had that lead and kind of controlling the map and exerting that dominance from the front line. And I think that Paws Gaming, they're going to want to have a fast start, as you alluded to already. But Fearless Esports, look, this is a rivalry, right? They understand how the other team plays. They're definitely going to be able to kind of counter it, especially with that draft, give themselves the best chance in this matchup here.
And this team, right, you talk about Fearless Esports, well, they are the MVP farmers of the entire regular season. Sky, with the regular season rate of 7 MVPs alone, this man has been doing it all in that jungle role. You definitely want to ban out his Luna, but on the other hand, we got that duo, the Myosotis and Snow combo, them putting on that Pay and Byron. They've been demolishing the entire regular season. So they've been doing extremely well in terms of finding those advantages. And one thing about Paws Gaming that really speaks to me much more than Fearless Esports is how individual of a unit Feng Jie is, right? We've seen Feng Jie playing individually on the Hou Yi, on the Burning Sun Arrow, working from home, just so to say, right? Just shooting that Burning Sun Arrow from out of nowhere and finding picks when he's way across the map.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a lot of success. I think the team is really starting to gel with one another. I think that we've seen nothing but week-on-week growth on a team. And this is a team that has not lost a single series, right? So this is a very strong team. And the fact that they're getting stronger at this stage, especially in the playoffs, is going to be very worrying for Fearless Esports. This is one opportunity for them to strike back. I think that they need to make a statement and really put their best forward in this game 1 here.
Yeah, I mean, going with the prediction, I gotta say, right? Predictions for today, it's going to be very evenly split if I had to make a little bit of a prediction, but I'm kind of favoring Paws here, right? The way that they've been playing, the way that they've been evolving since qualifiers till regular season till playoffs, it feels like they've become better and better every single day. Meanwhile, for Fearless Esports, well, they have been stock standard and they have been top tier, but for Paws Gaming, I see a different shift in mindset, in gameplay. How are we going to do this better? How are we going to make our gameplay tighter? So I gotta say, right, for me, it's gonna be 60% towards Paws Gaming.
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to, I hate to sit on the same side of the fence as you, Mo, but I do agree with you. I think that this is a squad that's really starting to hit their groove. That stride is really on point. The fact that they've been able to show up all the other teams, they've had no difficulties with anyone else. And again, I talked about the fact that they're kind of, already been strong and now that they're getting stronger. But Fearless Esports have kind of stumbled, right? Even going up against Impunity, going down 1-3, they showed some weaknesses, right? There were some gaps in how they were playing. They were not able to kind of keep up on that series. But again, I don't want to talk too much about the past because we're here now with this new matchup in the sense of the upper bracket finals. I do think Fearless are up to the task, but Paws Gaming is going to make it very difficult for them.
Yeah, currently in terms of the standings itself, we are already at playoffs, and this is the upper bracket finals. So, of course, it's going to be the best of 5 where we determine who goes into the grand finals, where they will have to play the best of 7. Once again, I repeat that only 3 teams left remaining right now. Fearless Esports, Paws Gaming, and also Paradise Esports waiting in that lower bracket. So, for both teams here, I cannot stress this enough. There's a lot on that versatility of the draft coming into the first series, and of course we seek a bit of your patience as of course we're waiting for the players to get ready. Normal drafting things, they have to get ready first, they have to be comfy first, because you want to play HOK when you're all comfortable, right? And when you're comfortable, that's where it's at.
Yeah. But at the same time, you don't want to be too comfortable. I think that's the biggest thing, right? You want a little bit of fire under you, especially when you're playing up against a top tier team. You really want to show up. I think that's the biggest thing going into this series. Again, you do not want to lose game one because it sets the momentum of it. I mean, Mo, let's talk a little bit about you were an ex-pro player. You've had some experience going into these types of series, right? How important is that game one to you?
Game one really defines a lot on the mentality of the momentum, right? Having that first win really bolsters the fact that you've been doing things right. So definitely it reflects as a lot on your pro player health as well in terms of how you've been training. You got to think about behind the scenes, what they've been doing there. They've been scrimming every day. They've been playing every day in preparation all for this event. Think of yourself as an athlete where the Olympics come up and you've been training your whole life, some even 4 years, for this moment. And for WKS, these pro players, this is their moment here to get that win, go into that grand finals and secure themselves the chance to represent their region in the KWC.
Yeah, obviously very important, right? And I mean, going into this one, it looks like Paws Gaming right now is undefeated, right? I think losing that potentially, 1 or 2 games, and especially in a best of 5, is really going to test the team's resolve. How do you, is it with a good coach, or is it like a captain of the team that really kind of been just simmer down, we got this one, kind of builds up that confidence so you don't really have that issue? How do things work on that side?
Well, I gotta say, right, in a lot of the cases where the players and the coach are talking, it depends on the communication level of the coach and the players as well, right? There is some sort of chemistry between the coach and the players. I've seen teams where the coach's orders are absolute, and I've seen teams where they're friends with their coaches, where, they will just, fool around with their coach a little bit and just be like, yeah, I think this is a good draft. And I really feel that coaches that trust their players in terms of making the decisions for the comfortable hero picks, that's where we see the best of the players come out. Like, for example, we saw from the side of Paws Gaming, we saw the Fu Zi Da Qiao combo. That's generally not really seen in that WKS region, right? It's more for that KPL region, the Chinese side, where AG, they use it a lot. But something about that combination spoke to Feng Jie and Qinglin that day. We can do it. We can use the Fu Zi and the Da Qiao. And I feel that the coach really believes in them. And meanwhile, for Fearless Esports, it seems like, they've been trying to cement themselves with Sky a lot as a jungler. And now Sky is trying to explore some versatility. So if you let Sky soar, maybe something different will come out of Fearless Esports today.
Yeah, I think Mausotis and Sky are the two main guys to look at, especially in the head-to-head, especially the jungle. That's where you want to kind of set the tone. A lot happens between those two roles. But I do want to talk about the Futs Da Qiao one. That's actually something that Gen G had brought into the KME as well. So we've seen this kind of been played out, but it really is more of like a counter draft, especially against very mobile type of lineups. It has a lot of play. And again, a lot of these teams have been watching the KPL for quite some time. So they've kind of begged, borrowed, and stealed, dare I say, some of the strats that have been coming out of there. It's been very interesting seeing exactly how they want to proceed, especially into the global version of the game. It's not basically the same, so to speak, but you can still have those very good coordination with those strategies in mind.
Yeah, coordination, strategies in terms of just trying to find shutdowns, right? Trying to find what works best for your best 5. So there's a lot of things between that synergy as well. And of course, in HOK, there's a lot of synergies between heroes as well, right? We explore known combos, and everyday new combos are getting formed. Recently, I knew about that Yixing Zhang Fei combo as well, where the Unbridled Outburst combined with the World is My Board provides a lot of sustain, a lot of segmentation and disrupt in the team fight. Recently, we see more of the rise of Agudo and also Guan Yu as well, where teams start to pick up more towards that frontline side of Guan Yu being that disrupt together with that furball and having the damage and the sustain in the back with the Agudo. Maybe sometimes you can even pair that with the Yixing as well. So these are just solid combinations that have been forming every single day, and all the blood, sweat, and tears of these players. I mean, you can use them in your ranked games.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. But I think the hardest part about bringing it into your ranked games is having a friend, right? Having that duo that you can kind of get yourself going with. Because sometimes it's the solo queue life, and it's not the easiest of lives to kind of go out. But having that combination really does help. Having those friends, the squad mates really will make your life a lot easier, especially in those ranked games. But look, there's so many different combinations in Honor King. And I love the fact that, every single day we're seeing new things coming about. It shapes the meta, and it really makes things very interesting. And that's why the draft is so important to me, right? If you're able to out-draft your opponent and to really have an advantage going in, I mean, you have a huge advantage in the game, I would say, almost like 60, 70, 70-30, dare I say, in some of these drafts.
Yeah, as my coach would say back maybe 16 years ago when I was a pro player. Well, 16 years ago, my coach, Ice, I remember you, Ice. This is what he always said. 70% of the game is in drafting, 30% of the game is in execution as well. And of course, we were playing a very different game. But of course, in the heart of esports, every single game leads back to the heart and spirit of competition. And I feel that the planning part of competition is also very important.
Yeah. Obviously the planning, but look, there's two sides to this one. There's the planning, there's the execution. That's always going to be key as well. Just enabling your team to have that victory, right? To kind of have those right movements. Everything is going to be super key, right? And this is where some of the top tier teams, if you're seeing them, they're able to, they're on the same page. Everybody understands what they need to do. The initiations are on point, and they're able to kind of clean house. But it comes with practice, right? These guys, you talked about this earlier, right? A lot of the teams are putting in countless hours so that they know how to play, especially when those the pressure, high stakes moments are happening.
Yeah, and all this in preparation for the season. And of course, we're going to have one of the teams finally make it to the international scene, to KWC in Saudi Arabia. So this is a very momentous moment for a lot of the teams here because they are gunning for that chance to fight on that international level. They will be fighting against top level teams. And of course, as my co-caster would say, Kindofu, there are the winners and then there are the learners as well. Every fight is a learning opportunity for these teams as well. So when you fight more and more, you find out ways where you can improve yourselves. And about these pro players, their mentality is never about blaming their own teammates or blaming whatever the circumstance is. It's about how they can get better each and every single time. And you can see that reflect a lot in their gameplay. As we evolve a lot from that regular season to the playoffs, you start to see a lot more polished plays. And I've been really proud of what I've seen in this entire playoffs, especially from the likes of Paws Gaming and Fearless Esports.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where like you have a mature team that's able to kind of take those L's, right? Those losses into lessons, into learning, right? I think that's going to be key. Like some of the younger teams or teams that haven't really been playing well with one another, if they face that adversity, and you're not going to win 100% of your games, and then there's a lot of pointing of fingers like straight off the back, right? So I think that it's key for teams to really kind of buckle down and understand that, hey, these lessons can be really helpful for us, right? We can learn a lot, and just what are the mistakes that we're making to really make us a better team.
Yeah, and one of the teams that really was, my audience prediction was on point. So 60% Paws Gaming, 40% Fearless Esports. So this is what you guys think are gonna win today. So Paws Gaming, taking the series. Well, I would give them maybe a 3-1. Given that Fearless Esports, they are going to take a series away from Paws Gaming. Yeah, that's my script. What do you feel? What about you, Holler?
To be honest, I think it's going to be a 3-1 or 3-0, dare I say. I think that Paws Gaming, once they get going, it is really disheartening, right? And trying to get back into a series, I think that with a little bit of a break in that sense of Fearless Esports, they're just kind of like buckling down, just kind of calming down, and understanding that Paws Gaming are probably their #1 rivals. They need to beat this team. They need to overcome. I expect them to strike back in that first game. If they lose that first one, this could go poorly very quickly for them.
Yeah, Paws Gaming are a team that has never seen the Tempest Dragon in the entire WKS so far, right? They have never reached the 20-minute mark where, yeah, the Tempest Dragon appears. They just don't reach that. And they've been winning every single one of them. But on the other hand, we have Fearless Esports, Fable in the Clash lane, Sky the MVP farmer, in the jungle Yin, in the mid lane KK, Absolute Cinema on that farm lane, and Woodwind having everybody's backs on the support.
Yo, you call Sky an MVP farmer, but they're so deserved, right? Like Fearless Esports live and die off of Sky's play. If he's having a great game, all the other teams need to watch out because he's the one that will make things happen. If he's having a bit of an off game, Fearless Esports kind of struggles, and this is why maybe the other teams, Paws Gaming, has definitely focused on Sky invading the enemy jungle, taking things away, so that he's really not able to get his game going. It's definitely a good strat, and just trying to limit what Sky brings to the table.
Yeah, Sky, honestly, he's been bringing a lot to the table, and that's one of the reasons I feel that this team, Paws Gaming, they have a bit of a slight edge when it comes to the crowd favorites, right? Snow on the Clash lane, Myosotis in the jungle, Xiaoyang on that mid lane, Feng Jie, that gold farm lane animal, that monster, Tinglin on the support role as well. And Tinglin, Myosotis, Snow, they previously were a squad. They've been playing together for a very long time, and finally they found the missing pieces of the puzzle, having Xiaoyang and Feng Jie. Now they're performing extremely well.
Yeah, but like Fearless Esports, when we're talking about MVP farming, Myosotis, Snow, and of course Feng Jie, all of them, or sorry, Xiaoyang, have all kind of gotten 3 MVPs to their name. They've been very consistent. Everybody is kind of taking this group project and committing and contributing to it, and everybody's really stepping up. So this is why this team is kind of doing well, because there's no one single guy that I need to focus for them to have a bad time.
Yeah, Xiaoyang, his picks have been amazing. He is known as the damage Yi Sing, but looking at the support head-to-head, Woodwind versus Tinglin right now, these are the two toppest of the top-tier supports that you will see in the league. Woodwind having one of the highest GPMs as a support in the league of a 751. Tinglin, not too really far behind. He's actually number 3, but 550 alone.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is I'm looking at like the number of deaths. The fact that Xinglin has not been focused, or he's able to stay alive while contributing and just cycling those spells, and that's kind of what you want as a roamer, is just ensuring that all of your spells are constantly being cycled. And he's done such a great job of surviving, stun locking them for the rest of the team to really have that success. I know that he doesn't get as many MVPs as everyone else. I don't think he has a single one in this in the WKS thus far, but his contributions are immense.
Yeah, and speaking of contributions, we lead to this, the kill participation per game, both of them having a very equal scoreline. But Woodwind, of course, he's been playing more of the damage supports as well compared to what Tinglin is. Tinglin has been assisting a lot in up. We see that he is that vital player in assisting Feng Jie in that farm lane, where Tinglin and Feng Jie, they've been working together as a great unit, where they've been playing 2 for 2. They always are together. That pivotal Da Qiao and Fu Zhi combo, Tinglin, he was a Da Qiao.
Yeah, but look at this damage. That's crazy by Woodwind, right? Just completely outclassing Jinglin. I mean, yeah, he's been the more aggressive one. He's died definitely a lot more. But with some of that risk, it comes, a little bit of the opportunity to die. And he's kind of died a couple of times for that, which is a little unfortunate for him. But we're going to be underway. We're about a minute away from the first game draft, right? So this is going to be key. Again, I'm expecting big things out of Fearless Esports. I want them to really take it to Paws and just kind of, set the tone for how the series is going to go.
Yeah, definitely for Fearless Esports, it's an arc of redemption following their regular season match. But in terms of lifetime score, right, they are really even for this entire WKS, where the qualifiers, we saw Fearless Esports taking the victory against Paws Gaming. Paws Gaming answering back in that regular season to secure that undefeated streak. Now, when stakes are at an all-time high, this best of 5 to secure them the grand finals, who will be the one to triumph?
we're going to find out. And that's the most exciting part, right? Of course, the Honor of Kings Esports, just understanding, seeing who the best team is going to be very key going into this one. Look, everything matters. There's only one slot. Obviously, the money is different depending on how the seating ends up being for you. But getting into that slot where there's, again, the KWC, 3 million USD in that prize pool, that's where all the big money is. 18 teams will be going into Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. That will be an amazing one to watch.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the representations. We've seen teams that already are in. And of course, for the WKS region, we can't wait to find out, as we will be finding out in the Gorge really soon. But of course, we're going to have to go to that pivotal banning and drafting phase as well. Of course, for those of you that are uninitiated, this is that global ban pick system. So if you pick a hero, you will not be able to recycle it or reuse it in the next series, meaning that it is completely out from your hero pool.
Yeah, and of course, game one, setting the tone, everything's going to be important for this one. The WKS, again, Fearless Esports and Paws Gaming, we've seen these two teams kind of going at it. They were undefeated going into the regular season, and then Paws Gaming were able to kind of pull out that W. Look, was there something in that series where you're kind of like, Fearless Esports really messed up with this one, or like this one thing that they need to fix going into this one here?
I feel that Fearless Esports, right? They do have, when we say Sky is the MVP farmer, when Sky has a good game, Fearless Esports has a good game. For that same reason, Paws Gaming, they found that reason out where Sky has been the winning formula for Fearless Esports. There hasn't been any more winning formulas. Yes, we do have the likes of KK showing up, but they shut down both Sky and KK. And these two are extremely pivotal for the Fearless Esports battlegrounds, for where they are the aggressive front. And if you completely shut them down, Paws Gaming, you do have a good time. And Myosotis and Snow, they've been doing an extremely good job of matching the rotations out of Sky, especially in the regular season, where Sky was not able to find any form of aggressive jungle movement that really pushes him ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Snow and Myosotis, and also Qinglin. These are guys from formerly of AGG, which is the All Gamers Global squad. They've kind of moved on, and now they're into Paws Gaming here. And you're going to see all of these guys. Look at them. They're ready to go. I mean, they're cool, calm, and collected, understanding that, hey, this is just another day in the office for them. Really, and I don't think they really fear Fearless Esports going into him, especially after that regular season performance. I think that they're going to be happy. They're going to be content. Fearless Esports, on the other hand, these guys, again, cool, calm, and collected. Nothing really phases these guys.
Look at Woodwind, man. He's yawning. He's like, it's another day in the office. And of course, for the side of Paws Gaming, they do have the world map over there. So of course, they're trying to go international here with their bans right now. Dharma and Diadea being the first two bans, really taking out the pivotal combos from the side of Fearless Esports. Of course, that Arlie has been taken out as well. As long as the pay is gone, Paws Gaming, Myosotis, he won't be able to snap pick it up. But they go for the Byron anyway on Snow, because Snow on Byron, he doesn't need Myosotis on pay. He's a monster on that hero anyway. And something that Fearless Esports are going for is that Dolia Dun combo, that Unruly Blade with the Celestial Melody, extremely good. But Paws Gaming, well, they can go for the E-Sing if they really wish to, but they pick up the Ogren first.
Yeah, I love this. The Fearless Esports side, the double Ds, right? The Dune and the Dolia, this is going to be very helpful for them. Kind of setting themselves up, right? You have a lot of opportunities. Obviously, it's going to be the Dolia, show in that sense of that Celestial Melody is going to be huge, and picking all of the heroes that you want to kind of capitalize on that, especially with the Loom here, all great start for them.
Yeah, I mean, with that, right, that Lady Sun, that combo to actually minus out the effectiveness of the Dun and the Dolia. With the Disruptive Deluge, you actually just impair the movements of the tank jungler. So, of course, you do want to pick that Lady Sun up. And, of course, the E-Sing not given to the side of Fearless Esports, fearing that it might be used together with the help of the Wind Slash. Very good disrupt. And also, they go for the Angela here. Angela, of course, known as the Tank Shredder, but there is a bit of skill shots where you do have to hit. And of course, if teams, they are aware of the spacing, it's very easy to triangulate where the Angela is going to come from.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sold. Look, in terms of the matchup against the Lady Jun, I think the Lady Jun just has a lot more flexibility. Plus, it counters the Ogren in a way. So it's a nice little 1-2 combination that Paws Gaming are looking to go. Angela is going to be more of like you were kind of talking about it this before. Is he able to kind of hit that Chaos Cinder from the brush, really catch somebody out? But if you're looking at the Paws Gaming side, look, the Byron and the Ogren are the guys that are going to be up front, the frontliners. They're very tanky, and they might not be as susceptible to that one-shot Chaos Cinder blast.
Yeah, Paws Gaming, very interesting, pulling it out for the first time in the WKS, the undisputed duo, the Lady Sun and the Ming. These two together combined, they have an extremely high win rate in the KPL, boasting an 88% win rate in the entire Chinese region. But now they bring it here to the WKS, they bring it here to match up against Fearless Esports. I gotta say, right, for Paws Gaming, their matchup, their lineup looks extremely scary. Compared to Fearless Esports, they do have synergy, they do have the damage, but I fear for the Dun a lot because he's gonna get kited around.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be kited around. But look, as a main myself, seeing that it's been picked up for the first time right now in the WKS, the combination with Lady Soon is just on point. It's going to be very strong, but showing it up now is a great opportunity. The damage potential is quite high, assuming that that little link doesn't get broken up. I think it's really going to come back to Sky and Yin. How are they able to just kind of break these two apart?
Yeah, and now we move on into game one, into the Gorge. We already see a very aggressive movement coming out from Feng Jian and Qinglin.
Yeah, this is going to be huge for them. I mean, look, Paws Gaming being aggressive, I like this, and making it a little uncomfortable. The rotation is coming, and Yin and Woodwind are looking to just scare them away, not giving up anything for free, and that Spike Tail will be picked up by Fearless Esports here.
Yeah, interesting rotation, right? Coming out from Fearless Esports. Yeah, Flaming Palm nearly taking out Snow, but yeah, he's not dead, and almost is not enough, but now the Flash being used by Xiaoyang as well. That's a lot of key utilities gone from the side of Paws Gaming, and I really like the rotations coming out for Fearless Esports so far, putting KK on the top lane to match up against Snow, because Pyron is going to destroy that lane versus Fable, right? Melee versus melee matchup really favors the Byron a lot, and this brings them into that aggressive jungle movement where you can take away the enemy resources and slowly start to choke them out one at a time. These minor objectives, they don't seem like much, but they matter a lot, and this mirrors Feng Jie and Qinglin's aggressiveness in proxying out as bottom lane, because now Fable, he can have that creep clear. He does have that level as well.
Yeah, Mausotis was trying to go in, but the Unruly Blade is on point. Always been pushed back. The Conductor of Souls onto him. Mausotis might go down, and he just barely survives. Somehow, he's tanky enough.
Yeah, tanky enough. Woodwind not having that Celestial Melody to actually follow up. He's not level 4 yet, right? So you won't have that double Unruly Blade. You won't have that movement available. And of course, Sky, he has went for the Smite because he's the jungler after all. You don't expect him with a flash. But for you guys, there is a gift code here. Go into your HOK app, go to the bottom left, click on the menu, and you can key it in.
Oh, Snow trying to fight 1 versus 2. He's going to use the Force Field Suppression, but he's going to be skirted away yet again. Fearless Esports. This rotation, KK and Woodwind have just made his life so difficult. In the bottom one, Chaos Cinder is going to be on point. Finds Feng Shi. They're going to give up first blood. Yin with a nice rotation.
Yeah, Yin coming in extremely clutch. And Yin at this point, he will just melt down anyone with that level 4, barring that Ogren, of course. Barring Myosotis, you don't really want to burst him down. But if you find Feng Jie, if you find Qinglin, Xiaoyang, Snow, anyone, any of the 4, you want to go for them.
Oh, the Ocean of Tears locking in Fable, but he's going to get under tower. And Paws Gaming were trying to go for the rotation of their own, not able to successfully convert that into anything. And now Snow on the run yet again. And they've made Snow just a tough time. He's eluding everything, just trying to keep this top T1 alive. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to do so.
Yeah, Fearless Esports, their rotation has been extremely good in answering for Snow, but he's in a pickle. He's going for that 1v3, able to get out, just playing with that limit just a little bit, knowing that he has that launch pad to actually go back to lane. But Fable is really suffering on the bottom lane here.
Yeah, Fable struggling at this point. I mean, it's in the same way that Snow is struggling in the top lane, right? They've done a terrible job on the other Clash laners, made very difficult for him to even play this game at this point. Snow has not gotten the farm that he wanted. He wanted that matchup up against Fable's Charlotte, not able to do it. And Fearless Esports doing a good job of just ensuring that they have a favorable matchup.
Yeah, I mean, for Fearless Esports, I would say, right, having a farm Byron versus having a farm Charlotte, I would feel that having a farm Byron is much more important, much more integral to Paws gaming lineup. But it seems like they're really focusing on the Lady Sun and the Ming a lot. So it seems like the win conditions, they're putting all the eggs in one basket here. Feng Jie will be that only basket carrying all those eggs. Myosotis, yes, he will be that frontline peel, but the source of damage, it all comes from Feng Jie. Xiao Yang currently does not have enough farm to contest a lot of the key damages.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. The Unruly Blade, the second time going even forward, but he's going to get caught in here, and it looks like they've got the turnaround, the Blazing Brilliance, the flash away. Snow just trying to stay alive, but he's been locked down. Sky makes him pay for even trying to go to his back line.
Yeah, but the bottom lane pressure has been coming in. This is that 4-minute mark where that Tyrant is available. They won't have Snow to contest this objective. His force field suppression has been used as well. He will have the launch pad to come back in 3 seconds, but look at the positioning of Fearless Esports.
Oh, they're going to go in. They find this, the Conductor of Souls. Myosotis is a little bit low. The Blazing Brilliance on out. The Unruly Blade is not going to do enough. They want to get the smite, and it looks like Myosotis goes down, but he trades with Sky, so it's a 1-for-1.
Yeah, 1-for-1. That's jungler for jungler. Both smites out of the battlefield. And now Fearless Esports doing a very good job of pressuring down that mid lane turret. Having half HP chipped down. That's pivotal damage going towards one of the key objectives of the game. That middle lane turret, extremely important in protecting your jungle. It covers both the north and south side. So definitely both your buffs will be just kind of barren, right, if they go down.
Fearless Esports with all the buffs right now, and Yin, even with both of them, not able to kind of connect on this. Sky will just kind of scare them away more than anything else. Paws realizing that, hey, we can't do much, but I think that they're going to be happy with that turn of events. Right now, it's all about getting as much farm onto Myosotis. Feng Jie, you talking about the fact that he's going to be the damage dealer. Obviously, it's these two that really need to carry the game. They need to stay on the board and continue to farm.
Yeah, one thing about Fearless Esports is their win condition is to catch Xinglin off guard, right? If you can find the Ming, you can take out that linking factor, the damage, and the healing factor onto Feng Jie. That's one of the problems solved, but there's another problem. Feng Jie in himself, currently he does have a lot of farm, and he also have the flash and the rolling raid to work with. That's a lot of mobility packed into a character. I wouldn't say on early level, but still a lot.
Oh, the Blazing Brilliance right up Myosotis. He's been locked in. They find him, and Sky all the way up in front, and the Angela is making some serious value on this team, being able to do all that damage and bursting it down. Myosotis got caught out, was not able to run away.
Yeah, Myosotis going down super fast at this point is a very telling factor for Fearless Esports, where they will not be able to have that frontliner. They wanted to fight with Myosotis Snow, right? That's their original frontline plans, but now that plan has been thrown into the fan. Now, Feng Jie and Xinglin, they will have to farm up a storm. They will have to get the itemizations. Yes, they haven't been fighting with Feng Jie, and once they start to do so, the net worth is still neck and neck. Now, this is really important on KK to find that flaming palm burst damage on to Xinglin, but he's been consistently bullied out.
Yeah, I mean, if we're looking at the kind of the net worth, the fact that, you know, Fearless Esports have like about an 800 gold lead, the distribution is a little bit different from Paws SP, or Paws Gaming, excuse me. Myosotis and Feng Jie are the top two. Those are the ones that are going to really hit hard, especially since you have Xinglin on the Ming to kind of enhance that damage. You got to be super careful here, but Sky at Half-Life needs to be careful himself. He does have the shield. He's going to just kind of shake things off at the end of the day. The Flaming Palm on the Xinglin, but I think not really much of this. The Ocean of Tears on the Sky, who has the Unruly Blade. That was very close.
Yeah, super close to
Snow
HP.
on the back, he found him. Oh, he went for the flank attempt, and Snow goes, I will take that one to go. Yes, it was a sacrifice, but that's exactly what you want. What a play by Snow.
Yeah, Snow just being that Byron that he is, but now continuing the team fight.
Yeah, continuing on, and now Feng Jie's gonna do some damage, and now Myosotis, he's trying to fight the power gradation. The Conductor of Souls is not really enough, especially since KK is whittling him down. Myosotis is looking to go down, and he does, and Fable picks that one up.
Yeah, Disruptive Deluge, not enough at this point to actually disrupt the fact that Fearless Esports, they're going in with Fable, they're going in with Sky, right? Sky went down eventually, but at what cost? Snow, he pushed that bottom lane, then he got that really map advantage going. But after losing Xiaoyang, losing Myosotis, they lose the Crimson buff, they lose that map control. Snow, he's still trying to go for this macro plays, trying to recover in terms of the gold loss. Getting these turrets, yes, important, but also getting farm on Snow is.
Yeah, and also it's about just kind of spreading the enemy team. Fearless Esports are looking to deathball. They've already taken the mid T1. This is about buying time and getting some space. Snow doing a good job. He realizes that, hey, we can't fight this one right now. I'm going to just kind of put pressure on that top T1. Fable had made a rotation. Unfortunately, Fable's not able to get the catch. Snow is just making some good plays with this split push.
Yeah, at this point, Feng Jie, he has the Shadow Ripper, so he will have the attack speed to actually burst people through. But look at this guy going in.
Yeah, it goes in at this point, but the Wind Slash not going to really connect. Nothing really too much to worry about. Feng Jie has joined the fight, so this is something that's kind of scary on the Fearless Esports side if they want to go. And now Fable actually going very deep in this one. He gets on out and does get to safety.
Yeah, both teams wanting to fight before the objective timers. But of course, Paws Gaming, they managed to defend their ground. They managed to hold it for now. They get the Azure Golem. The Tyrant will be coming out in 15 seconds. And Fable, he's solo scouting out the Overlord, making sure that they can't go for the trade freely. Meanwhile, on the other hand, KK has been going for the macro plays on the cross map. Now, we see Paws Gaming. They might try to pincer them in with the teleportation circle.
Yeah, I mean, Snow's going to go in the bottom, all the way in the bottom, just trying to go for that flank. But KK is there as well. He's getting some serious damage on Feng Jie. Almost gets the pick off, but just not enough. The infinite vastness is going to be expended here just to get back to safety. And Fearless Esports are looking to disengage. Snow still up in front though, and it looks like Sky hits the Wind Slash onto Snow, but now the Tyrant will be started. This is a perfect opportunity for Paws Gaming to take this.
I mean, they are still posturing around. They do have that pit control. They want to go in. Sky ready with the Unruly Blade.
Oh, Sky going in for this one. He's got the Gale's Benediction, but Myosotis. Oh, they found Feng Jie. That's the pickoff that they wanted, and KK will go to the skies. He's going to go in aggressively, and they want more. They've got Myosotis as well. Both of the damage dealers are down, as well as picking up the Tyrant. That was a huge turn of events, and mind you, Yin does go down. He's going to be traded on this one, and they find him, and now Fable just trying to go in, does get the kill on this Snow.
Yeah, 3-for-1 trade. Paws Gaming, well, they took an L there because their plan was to actually get the Tyrant buff and get that team fight going, but that still going their way of Fearless Esports. They didn't have that in their cards. Now, with that Tyrant buff, they actually have that 90-second window to fight that team fight freely, and with Fearless Esports lineup, you bet your dollar that they are going to fight it because they are a deathball lineup. Yin going down, not the much of difference as long as he uses the Blazing Brilliance. His job is already done now. Feng Jie.
Oh yeah, they're gonna go. Fable though, not gonna look to dive this tower. They're not able to get any sort of catch. So it looks like Paws Gaming will survive, but they're gonna lose the top T2. Fearless Esports doing some great initiations and getting in, understanding just pushing them away, getting those towers, which is obviously gonna just help that and get that hard net worth kind of shifting in their favor.
Yeah, in the end, it's still very scary that Feng Jie, right now, he does have that Daybreaker. So currently, both teams, I would say, map control in the favor of Fearless Esports, but Paws Gaming, they're slowly just recovering and gaining ground. Because Feng Jie, once he does have that flash up, once he's able to fight freely, if Fearless Esports does not catch the timing before the flash, the itemization coming out from Feng Jie is extremely damaging towards the entire lineup for the side of Fearless Esports. Look at the build. Axe of Torment into Blade of Eternity, and also the Shadow Ripper and the Day Ripper. This is prime moment, prime power spike for Feng Jie, so they need to take out Tinglin or Feng Jie to actually win the team fight.
Yeah, but I mean, look, he's doing a great job in terms of farming, Feng Jie that is, but KK's been responding in kind. I mean, look, the net worth, 10k, 10k. This is exactly what you want from your farm laner, and Myosotis has not felt comfortable. Yes, he's that tank, he's that Ogren, he wants to be that front liner, but KK has made his life so difficult, especially since Yin has been there with him, and every single time they have that blazing brilliance, and they just kind of melt through him.
Yeah, I want to say that itemization coming through from KK really smart, but Ting Lin might be getting caught a bit here, but just a bit of chip damage being traded. He does have the heal to actually just cap him out. But now KK going for that siege breaker, right? That start breaker. It is a tank shred for Myosotis. Generally, we don't see Lungs going for this enough in ranked gaming, but in competitive, they go for this a lot, especially against a tank jungler. So that first item actually provides a lot of shred damage for KK to be a threat to Myosotis. That's why this Lung is providing so much threat in the front line.
Oh, the unruly played forward. That was very aggressive by Sky, and it looks like he's kind of baited him out. Myosotis gets picked off. He actually went in for that bait, and Sky, with that play, finds him out. They find Snow. They've got the nice little connection. The unruly played onto him, but now Sky is at risk. He does go down. It's a 1-for-1, but they did take the bottom T3, and I think Fearless Esports are going to be happy with that trade.
Yeah, they know the Blazing Brilliance is back up, so they do have to play it a bit safe. Feng Jie still at half HP, and Fearless Esports, they do disengage, but now, do they set a trap in the jungle here? They do not, as they don't have Sky, and I really feel that, yeah, at this point, you don't have your frontliner. Fearless Esports, you shouldn't be fighting this at this point. Myosotis going down is not as important as Sky going down. They do get the tier 3 though, so map advantage still favoring Fearless Esports, but net worth, they're neck and neck.
Yeah, neck and neck at this point. This guy's going to be up in about 5 seconds. Myosotis is already up, and now the launch pad forward. Myosotis is making some quick moves into that Tyrant pit, and it looks like KK is skirting them away. He's going to be chased. Snow not giving any respect towards him, but now here comes Sky. The Tyrant's going to be the big target. He goes back in, and it looks like Woodwind will pick that Tyrant up. A roamer of all things. Woodwind picking that one up.
Yeah, now with the infinite vastness onto Snow.
Yeah, it's no real chance on this one. 1 versus 3 fighting, just trying to stay alive, but Sky will say, I will take that one for free.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, Snow, he's been trying to play the macro game the entirety of this 15 minutes here, but the Shadow variant going the way of Fearless Esports, well, they do have to take an L. They do know that the next 90 seconds, it will not be in their favor. And at this point, Fearless Esports, they will secure the Shadow Overlord area, right? Playing around this top area with Sky providing the vision, it's really to just secure the choke points in. They might go for a tier 3, but that Shadow Overlord is their main end game.
Yeah, look at this top T3 taking a lot of damage. KK is starting to do some serious work. The mid T3, the last one standing. And Fearless Esports, the only thing they don't have are minions, as they have to wait yet again. But the Shadow Overlord is going to be up right now.
And they continue to stay in the jungle. They secure that Crimson Golem. Well, they do see it at this point. Now, Paws Gaming, they might want to break the chokeholds here, but Unruly Blade is being used with Wind Slash.
Oh, the Wind Slash onto 2. They find Cheng Lin, who's going to get power predated. He's got 3-man stun, and Fable makes the play and flashes on out. He gets back to safety, and it was all a bait. They weren't going for the Crimson because they knew that Paws Gaming were going to step out of their base, and now Fearless Esports take the last T3, looking to close this game out.
Yeah, 1 person down. Crystal exposed. Fearless Esports, they do have what it takes to finish the game, except the creeps, like we said, but they can actually just wait. They can wait it out. 20 seconds on Ting Lin. And Paws Gaming, they're gonna have to make the defense of a lifetime here.
Yeah, this is going to be tough. Jinglin down for about 12 more seconds. This is going to be a tough hold for them. Myosotis all the way up in front. He's been baited out. Sky looking to just turn on this one. He might go into the Unruly Blade. The Wind Slash, the Conductor of Souls in return. It is just not enough to keep him alive. Snow looking for the backside. Finds KK. He's not able to get away. Fable goes down as well. And Fengchi, oh my gosh, he's starting to do some serious damage, especially with Chinglin. And now the chase is on. I don't think they're able to catch at this point. Snow not able to flash forward. He's used it in that last.
Yeah, they are still in the jungle though.
Oh,
Sky with the Unruly Blade.
Sticking around. Sky, oh, he's got the Blood Rage, and now Snow has to do a U-turn. He's going to be back with those minions. And Feng Ji, oh, they find Sky and Snow with a heroic save. But the base, they need to be careful. The mid lane is pushing, but this is an opportunity. Paws Gaming right now just needs to deal with the Crystal, save it, and then continue to push. But it looks like they want to go for the Overlord and potentially take out that Crimson Golem.
Yeah, taking a look at the replay of the fight, right? They weren't really able to isolate the problem. Yes, they wanted to take out Myosotis as much as possible, but Feng Jie able to deal free damage in that backline together with the help of Ting Lin. And with him kiting and fighting with the help of the Flash, Sky really overestimated his boundaries there. Even though he had the Unruly Blade, he didn't think that the Flash was up from Feng Jie, went for the 1v1.
I mean, look at the net worth right now. I mean, the kills are completely irrelevant at this point, especially since Paws Gaming are back, but they don't really have any towers. Any sort of push has got to be super careful, and making sure that they're, they have checked out all the lanes, and so they're not getting pushed in any way. The Shadow Vanguard in the top one will kind of exert on that a bit of a weakness that they had, but now Paws Gaming looking to kind of cut off the angle right now. Snow all the way up in front needs to be careful. He's going to back off. He dashes to safety, but they get the bottom T3, and now Paws Gaming have an opening into the enemy base.
Very good prioritization of target coming out from Paws. The end game was trying to just play peel so that they can get the bottom lane turret. Now, for Fearless Esports, all that is to ease the lane pressure. So Fearless Esports, if they find Xiaoyang just slightly a bit off guard here, they might jump, but Fearless Esports, end game, they still have to deal with the Vanguards first, right? And we might see them going into Tempest Dragon.
Yeah, like Xiaoyang is kind of not my thing, right? In terms of just like, yes, he might get targeted or whatever, but he's like a utility mage. He just needs to stay alive. He is not the #1 target you want, but the big target right now is going to be the Tyrant. It looks like Sky wants to go for this. They want to go. The Golden is Xiaoyang, not going to keep him alive. They've been knocked away. The Infinite Fast is right on top, but they find Sky, and they pick up the Tyrant, and Miles Otis, he's trying to fight this one, but Fengji, that's going to be life #1. He's going to come back, and is he able to get enough? The Sage of Sanctuary used even onto Fable, but he gets picked off. Yin and Woodwind are the last two standing. Miles Otis is on the run, wants to get the pick off. The Blazing Brilliance is enough to kill Snow, but Miles Otis is chasing them down. He is like that serial killer, and Woodwind trying to just run to safety. Is he able to do it? Fengji is pushing the bottom lane. This is an opportunity for Paws Gaming to just end the game.
Yeah, he does have that Seer State execution right now, and with the Conductor of Souls, able to finish him out and able to finish the rest of the game as Feng Jie did the groundwork on that bottom lane. Congratulations to Paws Gaming. They have not seen a Tempest Dragon yet. It was almost there. They got it 1-0 in this best of 5 so far.
I mean, this is kind of how Paws Gaming drew it up. They're like, hey, we're going to lose all our T3s. We're going to expose everything, and then we're just going to win the game. We're going to come back. I mean, that was a great game by Paws Gaming, understanding that, hey, we still got this. We just got to stay calm, cool, and collected because we have Feng Jie. He's going to turn it up. You've got that Ming to kind of just help out in terms of just that enhancement of damage. It just really well played by Paws Gaming in the end.
Yeah, I mean, Paws Gaming showing us a lot of the key strategies used in the global meta, right? Lady Sun, Ming, well, if you're gonna put all your eggs in one basket, that Lady Sun and Ming together, oh man, that's the best basket. That's one of the best baskets there is. That's a premium basket. And for Feng Jie, he really made use of the farm extremely well, using that first life extremely well to bait Sky in. Then, of course, going for the itemization switch straight into the lifesteal does get the damage through, and also that bottom lane push going. And Miles Otis, I gotta say, he was not doing well in that early game, but in the mid game, I feel that he made some extremely good decisions, just giving up his life for Feng Jie and Snow to find the farm when needed. That's a lot of macro gameplay going the way of Paws Gaming, and really it just affected Fearless Gaming because Fearless Esports, because they didn't have that lineup to deal with that late game monster of that Lady Sun and the Ming.
Feng Jie is just on another level. I mean, 18,000 net worth, right? Like that's I mean, KK, he was 14,000 is nothing to kind of cry home about. This is a very good score in and of itself. But Feng Jie just being super enhanced. I mean, yes, they funneled as much farm into him as much as possible, but literally everybody was just helping and ensuring that Feng Jie were able to just kind of knock them all down. But Xiaoyang, I got to give props where props are due, because it's tough to play that utility mage where you're not able to get all those kills. He was staying alive, but the damage mark, 172,000, 31% of the team, really softened up the team from Fearless Esports and made it very difficult for them to kind of get into those team fights.
Yeah, it's still very hard to play a tank jungler into the hands of a Lady Zun, because Lady Zun definitely is that pick, that premium #1 pick that you want against a tank jungler, right? The Disruptive Deluge really just tenderizes anybody that wants to go into your way, and Sky just being that only frontliner just really sealed the deal for Paws Gaming, because they knew that once Sky was down, that is their entire beefiness gone. Look at the damage that he took, 236,000 for the team, because the rest of the team, they can't take that much damage. They don't have that much HP bars.
Yeah, I'm thinking if they had like one other like tankier type, like a Zhang Fei or something, I think they might have a better time. But the MVP, clearly Fengshi. I mean, the 226 KDA, not so much. But I mean, the actual impact when those team fights are happening, 29% of the damage. He took a decent amount as well with 17, but he had 28% of the total gold out there. I mean, this guy was really just ensuring that this team was not going to lose that game, especially when you're down to all those T3s.
Yeah, 28% total gold. I mean, this man, the definition of all in, and this Paws Gaming, they went all in onto Feng Jie at this point because really he is the man to watch out for. He plays very well as an individual unit, and now that he found Qinglin, I mean, he's the perfect other half, right? The perfect partner. And that Lady Sun and Ming, we talked about them playing the Fuzi and the Da Qiao together. Now that they're on the Lady Sun and Ming, I see a different side to them where Feng Jie is allowed to be free in the late game while making the early game decision making to actually forego the rest of the team to secure that late game status. Getting the W is more important than winning the small skirmishes.
Yeah, and you'll see the value. I mean, it's one thing to have the Lady Sun Ming combination, but they actually have the Byron and the Ogren to really kind of accelerate and to kind of protect that backline because they are very squishy. Sky was trying to do his darndest. Every single time that he saw Fengshi, he would just hone in and just try to go for those kills. And I mean, he had some limited success in the beginning, but Fengshi, once he started to get that snowball going and he was starting to do a lot of damage, it was very difficult for Fearless Esports to come back at that point.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, they were consistently jumping in, and Maya Sotis and Snow, we were wondering, maybe, what are they doing, right? Why are they giving their life up so much? And it's all in the hands of Feng Jie. They just want Feng Jie to get the space. They want him to consistently get that macro. And when KK manages to find the kill on Feng Jie, you can see the instant retreat call coming out from Paws Gaming. While Snow, yeah, he does want to fight as much as possible, but he's been responsible for the main macro plays going on. Give him up his own life. It's still a consolation prize here as long as he can get trades going. And losing this tier 3, not too much of a big deal because they know that they have that mage advantage. That scalability of the Lady Sun really goes heavier into the late game, much higher than the Angela actually.
Yeah, actually, at this point, when they took the T3 bottom and they sacrificed the Sky's life and they traded, I was thinking, oh, this game is over, assuming Fearless Esports were able to play this one smartly. But, you know, Snow, again, the fact that he was split pushing, kind of pulling people away from their base, making things a little bit more, you know, cumbersome for them to kind of put the finishing touches on this game. But they were never really able to find Feng Jie. Look at this guy where he is. I mean, yes, Qinglin, his support partner died, but he always just managed to stay alive, and he was kind of very wily in that sense, kind of deftly maneuvering around whenever Sky would try to go on top of him.
Yeah, and this last team fight, you can see Myosotis just desperately using his HP bar as a resource while Snow was forming that segmented team fight as well. And once Feng Jie and Qinglin are together, this is when you gotta pull off that retreat. Now, Feng Jie having that flash, doing the outplay against Sky, that win slash is not enough when you are 1v3. And of course, what win without Celestial Melody, there is no get out of jail free card. And for Paws Gaming, it was an extremely well orchestrated team fight, right? For this entire team fight, they really focused down on Tyrant having the buff in itself, then using the first life of Feng Jie to really bait out Fable in. Then now they know that Fable is squishier without the utility. His utility power gradation, everything is on cooldown, and now Snow can go on a rampage. Of course, he wasn't accounting Yin's Blazing Brilliance there, but Myosotis is there to back him up.
Yeah, just a great team fight at the very end, right? And be able to just close out the game, understanding the state of the game with that lane push in the bottom lane. Feng Jie was like, all right, we got this game after that team fight, and able to close it out. Super important, right? Being able to make that call. Very well played by Paws Gaming. Look, that was really back and forth in the sense that Fearless Esports really stuck it to them. I was thinking, Paws Gaming might not win this game. That undefeated streak is at risk, but Paws Gaming is like, no, hold my beer. I got this one.
Yeah, Paws Gaming, they know their win conditions really handedly. They know that in different levels, different heroes, different slash roles have power spikes, and they were looking for the early power spike from Myosotis. They were looking for the mid-game power spike for Snow, then the late-game power spike coming out for Feng Jie, right? These were the 3 set conditions that they have. Meanwhile, for Fearless Esports, they also know their power spikes extremely well. They went for that early-game power spike. They actually managed to shut down Snow quite a lot. They actually managed to shut down Myosotis, but they didn't manage to shut down that extreme win condition coming out from Paws Gaming, which was Feng Jie hiding in the bushes.
Yeah, you just need a little bit more survivability, some sort of tank, I would think, like some secondary initiator. I think the Charlotte, in hindsight, I mean, yeah, you have that mobility to get to the back line, but it seemed like he was being focused quite a bit by Snow and just being controlled, not able to kind of just, have his way in that back line. So I think that, hey, game 1 is in the books. It is what it is. A global man pick. We're not going to be seeing these heroes picked by the same teams again. But going into game 2, you got to shore up those weaknesses. I think that, like, having a balanced lineup is great, but at the same time, you got to understand what the strengths of the enemy team is bringing.
Yeah, I mean, this part, I gotta say, right, for Paws Gaming, they use a lot of tier priority picks, right? Top tier, I gotta say. Lady Sun, Ming, of course, top tier as well. Lady Zhen solo in that mage role is very top tier. Snow on Byron, also top tier as well. Myosotis, of course, he does have that versatility to go for those assassin jungles. I'm not saying that they don't have the versatility. I'm just saying that this entire team's synergy is one of the top tier. And for Fearless Esports, well, they do have better options right now. For example, if they want to go for the Lady Sun and Ming themselves, if they want to counter the Lady Sun, using that Lady Sun themselves to counter out the tank jungler coming out from Myosotis, that's a possible option for Fearless Esports. So they are still pretty much in this best of 5.
Yeah, but it comes back to that draft, right? Just Lady Sun and Ming in a vacuum is not, I mean, it sounds great, but you need those frontliners. You need other people, and the Byron and the Ogren are great complements to it, right? I think that that's the biggest thing, because you're just so squishy at the end of the day. If you're able to just like free fire from the back and just like have your way with the enemy team, you're going to have a great time. But if you ever get focused, like Sky was trying to do on that Dune, trying to get on top of them, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, tough times coming out for Fearless Esports, but of course, this is a best of 5, so first to 3 gets this. We will be undergoing the second banning and drafting really soon, but we gotta give the players a bit more time to prepare, so you gotta be patient with us for a little while and hear us talk about what might go on in game number 2 and what other stakes at hand. And of course, this is the WKS Spring season. It is the playoffs. It is upper bracket grand finals already. Upper bracket finals, where one of these teams will be going into the grand finals. There's Paradise Esports waiting in the lower bracket finals. So whoever loses here will have to go up against Paradise Gaming before they reach the grand finals.
Yeah, and I mean, this is my biggest worry, right? Going into this series, I was thinking that Fearless Esports were really going to take it to Paws Gaming, but losing like that, my gosh, that's got to be demoralizing. You got to shake it off and just be like, okay, that game did not happen. Like, just completely get it out of your system, your mind, and stop, like, not even think about that one. You don't want to take any lessons from that one, because that one hurt, right? Going into game 2, I think that term comes draft, shore up some of those weaknesses, get themselves a much better opportunity, and give them like just a little bit more to close out the game.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit more to close out the game, but I feel that for Fearless Esports, right, they've really shored up that early game and that mid game into trying to destroy Myosotis and Snow. You saw that Snow, he really didn't have a shot in, and they were forced to show their last hand, right? They were forced to use the Feng Jie into that turtle combo, and we saw them, they were actually very threatened. With the tier 3 down, we saw that Sky giving up his life, maybe not too ideal because that was their only frontliner, but still, for the side of Fearless Esports, they brought an extremely good game, and I'm pretty sure with a better draft, like you said, they will actually take the heat. They will bring it to Paws Gaming.
Yeah, but oh, man, look, they were so close. I mean, you can't just bring it. You got to close it out, right? You got to close the deal in that sense. You can't just leave it there. And I mean, look, there was that moment, even at the very end, where Sky tried to go for Feng Shi. He was fighting 1 versus 3, tried to go all in on that one. And then at that point, you're just kind of throwing it and seeing what sticks. Was not able to make that play. Like, you got to cut your losses. Understand that, hey, we might not have won this one. Fine, let's regroup and let's come back at it. We need to ensure that we're on the same page, not be going for these Hail Mary plays.
And now this brings me back to the good old days, right? When I miss casting with you, Holler, you are always that disappointed Asian dad where, you could be better, Fearless Esports, you did well, and you could be better, and almost is never enough. I gotta agree, but credit where credit is due. Fearless Esports, I still feel, I'm gonna say, as a bro, you guys did a great job.
Okay. All right. I mean, look, when you lost the game, how great of a job did you do, right? Like, I think that's the biggest thing. I'm going to say Paws Gaming had a great job because they won, right? They came back from the depths of hell and ensuring that they were able to kind of come back. That is not easy to do, especially against a team like Fearless Esports. Understanding just the state of the game. Yes, we might lose all our towers in this one, but we know how to get back because we know our peak points. And that moment when Feng Jie was able to kind of hit that 11 mark was just really on point. And he was just, again, able to close the game out from then on.
Yeah, there was a lot of decision making at the end where we saw the individual decision making that just came out slightly ahead for Paws Gaming. They were extremely neck and neck. We saw the second life coming out from Fable as he was trying to dive into Feng Jie as well. He actually took out Fable's first life, right? But of course, the cooldowns didn't really go his way with the power gradation and the mobility as well. Feng Jie just had the lower cooldowns at that point in the game. He's level 15 already. And of course, with the help of Ting Lin, he's going to have that top-up factor. The itemizations coming out from Feng Jie was extremely quick. The switch in items when he was dead instantly into the Blood Sweeper, getting the lifesteal, getting the procs through. That was very clutch coming out from Feng Jie. I gotta say, extremely good micro play, very good decision-making on Paws Gaming part.
Okay. All right, Coach Mo, I mean, you've already talked about the fact that Feng Jie did a great job. What other words of encouragement are you giving Fearless Esports going into Game 2 here?
So for Fearless Esports, right, they identified that the win condition was very good into that last game for Feng Jie and Ting Lin. They really knew that they had to take out Feng Jie and Ting Lin, where they sent one person at a time. That's what I feel that was slightly the problem for Fearless Esports. I really felt that, yeah, Sky going in for Feng Jie, it was only Sky. And Fable going in for Feng Jie, it was only Fable. KK going in for Feng Jie was only KK. If they sent all three, maybe they could have gotten a better pick, because in the mid game, that's exactly what they were doing. They would be sending at least two into the back lines with Fable and Sky. While in the late game, it felt that they were much more preoccupied and worried about Snow forming the pressure when they ignored Snow throughout in that middle of the team fights.
Yeah, but that was like the brilliance of Snow's play more than anything else, right? Like he didn't have a great early game, but once he was just enough to be like scary. Like, is he hiding in the brushes in the sides coming from the flank? He was not scared to go in 1 versus 3 and just finding that pick off onto Yin. He was doing that multiple times where you were constantly being threatened, and it's almost like ghost pressure, right? And being able to put that on was actually very beneficial for them, because Fearless Esports, yes, they were looking to siege, but they were kind of doing it slowly. They were always checking the corners because they were not exactly sure where Snow was.
Yeah, and at that point, right, the vision game, I gotta say, from the side of Fearless Esports, it was just lacking just a little bit, right? They relinquished control of the enemy jungle at critical moments of the time, where they should have went for the Shadow Overlord, and they were trying to really go for the finish, while they could have secured the icing on that cake, and they could have gone for a cleaner finish, and that gave the opportunity for Paws Gaming to go for the Shadow Overlord. So, yeah, I gotta say, right, decisions, small little decisions that snowball, but to them, I gotta say, well, woulda, coulda, shoulda, and, well, for the next game, let's just not have any regrets.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, right? I mean, it's about whoever makes the least amount of mistakes. I think that's going to be huge for both of these teams, right? Because you have an opportunity to close things out, but then you're making some mistakes, and then the enemy team is able to compound on that and just really kind of take the fight to you. And you never want to give a good team a chance. When you have them down, you need to ensure that you close it out. Again, just choke them out. Make sure that there's no way for them to come back.
Yeah, and I gotta say, right, I really agree at this point. It is a very good learning factor for anybody out there that is watching, or any teams out there that is watching. I mean, Paradise Esports, you better be watching, because you're going to be playing one of these teams tomorrow. And for them, well, any single small little mistake is punished to the heaviest degree. And this is even more evident as we go higher and higher in tiers of HOK, right? When we talk about the top levels of HOK, well, every single mistake that you do is heavily scrutinized by the other team. It is, and instantly will be punished. And we can see that starting to affect Fearless Esports. We see that starting to affect Paws Gaming, where they had that back and forth, where they were punishing mistakes after another and finding that perfection. Of course, nobody's perfect. It's hard, but reducing the losses, reducing the amount of mistakes made, it's also a learning process in itself.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the biggest thing. But here again, this is the winner bracket final. You don't want to really doing a whole lot of learning, right? You want to be letting the enemy team do the learning at this point, and you want to really just take it to them. But going into the draft, look. If just a little bit more tankability on the side of Fearless Esports, Paws Gaming, I like their lineup going in. That's a very solid one. It's a very balanced lineup. Whenever you've got an Ogryn, it's usually going to be a good time. My concern was like, are they kind of funneling him enough farm? Is he, Masotis is able to get going? And Fengji's is like, actually, he's not the win condition. I am. And he was just able to take the team on his back. But man, when you've lost all those T3s, it's a scary moment in the game when you're like, oh crap, now we cannot make a single mistake. And from that point on, Paws Gaming did not.
Yeah, I mean, the lock-in coming in from Paws Gaming, well, at the last moment, we saw them making those extremely clutch little plays. Well, but I gotta say, right, it's all about the adaptability. And I feel that at this stage, not learning is one thing, but adaptability is also another thing. A lot of players know how to play when they're winning, but Paws Gaming show that they know how to play when they're losing as well. And that's a very important part of the game because you're not going to be taking the map advantage most of the time. And for Paws Gaming, well, to be able to fight a losing battle where all tier 3 turrets were down, it shows a lot in terms of tenacity, in terms of team mentality as well, right? You can see that from Paws Gaming. They're extremely composed. They have full trust in Feng Jie, even though the cards were down.
Yeah, actually, that's the biggest thing, right? When you're the fact that they were being pressed, the map control was completely in favor of Fearless Esports, pushing them back. But then once the T3s were all done, that was the moment where Paws Gaming was like, okay, let's activate, let's get going. We can turn this game around. You know what I mean? Like from that moment on, they didn't lose any team fights, right? They just took over the game and they were able to just kind of close that one out. But a very impressive win, and the bounce back factor and the resilience of Paws Gaming, being able to just bounce back. Because man, if I'm in my ranked games, the surrender option is going up.
That was exactly what I was gonna say, right? Once all my tier 3 turrets are going down in my rank games, well, my teammates just suddenly lose all shred of hope. They're like, yeah, there's no way we're winning this. Yeah, and I'm surprised that Paws Gaming, they do have the tenacity to go for it. No, we still have the win conditions. We still have what it takes to win. And of course, for us, it's very easy to see because we are observing with the mind's eye. We can see all the stats. We can see all the itemizations. We can see every single hero. But to them, what do you think they see? Their vision was limited. They only saw the rest of the base, and yet they managed to step forward into the jungle and take advantages from brush to brush, and then to objective, and slowly conquer out Fearless Esports domination.
Yeah, but it was also a moment where they got that pick off. Fearless Esports were on the run, and then they just stuck around. They were like, oh yeah, we're still in the advantage, and we're just gonna be taking these fights that are not even or not in favor of us. We're gonna get caught out a couple of too many times, right? And Fearless Esports, this is uncharacteristic. We don't like to see this from them because when they play against everyone else, they're very solid, they're very clean, they understand how to close out games. But up against Paws Gaming, it's like they're kryptonite. They don't really they don't play their normal game.
I think they're playing the normal game. It's just that Paws Gaming, their adaptation is very good. When it comes down to decision making in the game where it's late game, right? Where everything is, you're stuck in a corner, you're just backed into a wall, they will still manage to fight their way out. And Paws Gaming, well, they are experienced enough to fight their way out as well. Something that goes a long way. It's also that game experience, right? Game sense, I feel that for Paws Gaming, it's not something that you learn or within a day where, what do you do when, well, this person is pushing this lane? They went for the counter rotation, right? They went with the yin and yang, that circular motion across the map that a lot of people understand in theory, but it's extremely hard to put into practice, where you see someone on the opposite side pushing, and then you try to push the opposite side, but suddenly you just get caught by 3 people waiting in the bush, but they have the map sense to do so. And for Paws Gaming, this is not out of the luck, out of the blue, let's just push this because he's pushing that. It's not a formula. It's something done through their own players. They are screaming in their comps, I don't see him here, I don't see him there. And via triangulation, they're like, oh, so they are here. So let's just do this. And that's something that, yeah, you just don't learn.
Yeah, you definitely don't learn that one. I mean, but like it's like trial and error, dare I say, and like sometimes you get caught out. I think that for the vision point, especially when you're winning, you can't be giving Paws Gaming any sort of room to breathe. And I think that Fearless Esports had given too much respect on those retreats. Like you retreat, it's like a fake back. Maybe you stick it around in the brush, see if they can get one single pick off before they make their way out. It just seemed like it was like an all-out retreat. It was very predictable in terms of their movement, especially at that stage. And when you're winning, you want to again be very aggressive. You want them fighting for scraps with those minion waves that are kind of crashing into those bases. You don't want them to leave their base at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's something that I've yet to see out of Fearless Esports. That's a very good point that you put up, right? Fearless Esports, they look like the textbook standard where they're doing everything right, yet Paws Gaming, they have the edge every single time. And that is that heart. That is that willingness to win the game, the adaptability that comes out, the split decision that comes out. And this is all spontaneous. It's done in the heat of the moment. This is not something that you are going to find in your coach's book. This is not something that you are going to formulate out from watching the greatest teams. And Paws Gaming at this point, I just feel they have that spark in them. And until the day where Fearless Esports, they have that spark to say, yeah, we're going to get comfortable. We're going to play to our heart's extent and, just stop doing that textbook plays. Well, that's the day that they win Paws Gaming. Possibly.
Yeah. And look, whenever I see a team, I always like the underdog teams usually because they've like kind of learned their lessons and they're like, oh my gosh, they're hitting their stride and they're so good all of a sudden, right? But Paws Gaming, it seems to be a little bit of a counter one for me, because I really like Paws Gaming. I like the way that they play. And the fact that they're so resilient and able to come back into games is crazy. But man, they just don't lose games. That's the craziest thing about all of this is that they're still able to kind of make mistakes, but at the end of the day, still manage to pull out the W's because, again, they haven't lost a single game in the WKS. That speaks volumes about this team.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very surprising result, though. Like, we almost saw them going into the Tempest Dragon, right? For the first time in WKS, where, I was expecting Paws Gaming to be like a win machine, where they were only knowing how to play winning games. And sometimes when you keep winning, it's not exactly a good thing, especially in the case of esports, where you don't know why when you suddenly have your first loss, why did you lose? Because you've been winning, you've been applying all the formulas, you've been doing everything correct. But for Paws Gaming, what really surprised me there was that they were fighting a losing game, and yet they did not lose hard. So that means Paws Gaming has really what it takes. And the guys have gathered. They are finally in the server. So now we're going for the ban pick of game 2.
Yeah, Paws Gaming going to be on the blue side. They're going to be banning out the Byron. A lot of, dare I say, it's what the most picked or top 3 picked in the wild card already. So this is a very strong hero. They know they need to get out of it because of the fact that, again, in that clash lane, it's just an absolute beast against another melee hero.
Yeah, not giving the pay to Myosotis as well. And Myosotis, right, on this pace, completely a monster, but Paws Gaming, they know that Sky potentially on the Luna could also be that factor that they're scared of. Taking out Snow Charlotte here. Now, Paws Gaming, for the first time ever, they are given that Luna option. And if they wish to go for it, they will prioritize the Arlie instead. Now, for Fearless Esports, do they take up the idea? They have the Luna available, but the Mai Shiranui is there as well. So they pick up the Mai Shiranui, maybe?
No, the Mai probably, yeah. They're going to pick it up this one. I think the Luna is a bit of a reach, especially early, because then, Paws Gaming were able to counterpick that with 2 picks of their own. I think that you have to be very careful of protecting those type of assassin-style junglers as much as possible because the counterpicks are real, right? And Paws Gaming going with definitely a more well-balanced lineup. The Arlie, obviously, you talked about already. S-tier farm laner, very strong. You have Yixing with those boards, as well as Sun Tzu. You have that counter-initiation. This is looking to be a very strong first phase, but Fearless Esports going with the Han Shin and the Mai. My gosh, this is going to be like high tempo.
Yeah, this is high mobility, high tempo coming out from Fearless Esports, and I really love this Hansen coming out from Sky, right? He is one of the coolest players that you will see on a Hansen. Extremely fearless, like the name dictates, but now they take out the idea. And something cool about Sky on the Hansen, right? He does go for that tank build, but he will keep fighting for days, and this actually leads to Sky and Fable, I mean, not Sky and Fable, Yin and Fable getting those rotations through on the Mai Shiranui and the Mayin to actually reach that team fight in time. So they have the whatevers, they have the Kachosin to actually come from afar, but of course, they have to set up the fights first, and Sky will be that setup.
Interesting. I mean, look, the setup that you're talking about is definitely going to be there. But I mean, one opportunity of Paws Gaming right now, you could go with the Liang. I think that if you're able to lock down the Han Shin or the Mai, you're going to have a great time. Obviously, if you're looking at the other side from Fearless, Fable needs to do a great job of whoever's being locked down to be set down themselves, right? Would that get serious to just kind of pull them away? But the opportunity, and it looks like they will go with that Liang. This is a huge win of a pick for Paws Gaming here.
Yeah, I mean, but picking up the Yao versus the Han Sid, we're gonna see some crazy head-to-heads in the jungle, right? Sky versus Biosotis. I mean, one of the top few MVP farmers versus that solid jungler of Paws Gaming, currently undefeated. And this is something that, yeah, I'm looking forward to see, but at the same time, I'm very curious about the itemization coming out for Paws Gaming, right? If they go for the damage build for every single one, they actually don't have that frontliner. Yes, there is that catch coming out from Liang, but that follow-up damage, usually you see Liang with Princess Frost, but now with the Yi Sing, it's a new perspective.
Yeah, definitely a new perspective. I mean, both sides are kind of on the squishier side. I think it's really going to come back to the control and when the team fights are actually kind of locking it down. Like the Qinglin on that Liang, if he's able to just kind of control like the Han Shin or the Mai, they're pretty much just screwed, right? This is a huge burst of potential from Paws Gaming, and they can kind of just make your life miserable if they catch you. But again, it's high-flying glass cannons on both sides where they're both very squishy.
And as you guys like to say it, right? No pause is not a pause. No, not a Paws Gaming game without a pause in the game. So, of course, we do have a bit of technical error coming out from both sides. So we will try and fix that. Of course, it's still fair gaming for all. So both teams, they do have a right for technical pause. So do be patient with us. But let's just talk back about a little bit into the game, right? The mobility coming out. We talked about the Easing and the Liang being very interesting. Now, something that I'm worried about for the side of Paws Gaming is that they lack that burst damage to actually make use of that power word control suppression. That is something that, yeah, you lock down the Han Sin, but once Sky becomes too tanky and once he becomes a bit more of a monster, who's going to be able to answer for him? Arlie? Yes, but Han Sin has the mobility to answer for the Arlie.
Yeah, I think it's just going to come back to Feng Shi. I would bet all in on this one, right? And the fact that you have the Yao and then the counter initiation with that boat, you have a lot of opportunities for the control. Again, everything is done in theory, and assuming that all the players are really honed in and understanding the target prioritization, that's going to be key. If Fearless Esports are kind of like, hey, we're just going to be this bursty, high-flying lineup that just finds all the times where, the Liang from Qinglin is not able to find anybody. They might struggle because, again, it's just about the bursty, squishy lineups here.
Yeah, and usually, right? Usually for Fearless Esports, the Han Sin, well, he does go for team fights, but he's never really that main setup factor. He's always just going in to disrupt, do the macro plays, get as much farm as possible. And for what it's worth, Fearless Esports, I don't think they can choose actually to take these team fights or not. With Mai Shiranui Mayin, yes, you do want the kills, but you also have the mobility. You have the option to do macro instead of micro. You don't take the team fights. You avoid every single team fight when you know the power word control suppression is available. Well, you just don't take the team fight. And Fearless Esports right now, that's what I'm a bit scared of. The set sail, yes, it does give that option of you have to fight because the boat is going to land, but if they can avoid that, if there's a possibility, right? There's a timeline where they can avoid that, and if they do, Fearless Esports, well, their macro looks amazing.
Yeah, the macro potential is going to be there. But I mean, look, right when Chinglin hits level 4, you know that this team is going to be on like a gank squad, right? Then you're going to see, Snow coming in with those set sails. So wherever the fights are going to happen, you know that they're going to happen very quickly. So again, it comes back to the mid lane for me. I think Yin on this Mai needs to exert a lot of dominance in those the outer lanes, put a little bit of pressure on, make life a little bit uncomfortable so that your team has that space to really macro and take advantage of the fact that Sky can be everywhere.
And now that we're back into the game, this is game 2 of the upper bracket finals. Of course, the winner makes it to grand finals and gets themselves a shot at a chance to go to KWC.
Yeah, obviously going to be very important. I mean, setting the tone, right? Being the first one into the grand finals would be absolutely huge for either of these teams. It's a huge weight off your shoulders, so to speak. We know that Paradise Esports are waiting in the wings for the loser of this team here, or this game, so it's going to be key.
Yeah, Ready Yin going in right here as Sky. He's not level 4 yet, but we do have Feng Jie with that poke damage and a very interesting lane swap, right? Usually we see this out of Paws Gaming where they like to put the early mid, try and funnel the farm as much as you can towards the other side of the lanes.
Yeah, actually, I like the fact that Paws Gaming are very flexible, right? Understanding that in the last game, there was in the clash or in the top lane, and now they're looking to put in the mid lane and ensuring that Fengji, again, he's your win condition. You want to get as much farm as possible on him. Everybody else, I hate to say it, is more of like a supporting cast because he's able to close out games. And when you're looking at a farm laner, you want that skill and you want that set of, talent in that farm lane for you.
Yeah, and there's a lot of mobility as well from Paws Gaming, similar to what Hansen brings on the table. I'm very curious to see what Myosotis is going for in terms of item build as well, but there's a bit of aggression coming out from Fearless Esports. They're trying to take away the smaller creep camps, but the rotations from Paws Gaming, they're just good at this point. That Morphin Temple just being used to spot things out. They don't be taking the team fights right now.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Just the little wins, like taking away the boars, contest things. Because again, Paws Gaming, they need to respond in kind. They've grouped up, they have a 3-man rotation just running around together, ensuring that Fengji is getting a lot of that farm. I mean, Chinglin right now is level 4, so the potential gank opportunity starts now.
Yeah, and Yao, very interesting in terms of taking these team fights as well. I mean, we were talking about Myosota's itemization, but still, right, it feels like all their eggs are still in that Feng Jie basket, right? Early in the late game, we know that it's a monster, but now they do have an answer, right? The Imperial Order coming out from side of KK, that's a very good lockdown. That's a very good shred potential. And for KK to get that positioning, well, Woodwind has to play a huge part because for the side of Fearless Esports, Sky is going to be that pseudo frontliner, but they technically don't have a main frontliner, and Myosotis not able to use the Gift of the Stars to actually have just a slight little blunder there.
Yeah, he ran into the wall. That's something that I've done, in my day, so to speak. He just kind of ran into that one. But, I mean, the gank attempt was not real. Oh, the bottom.
Yeah, being suppressed up is KK, but he does have a bit of HP to work with, and this is what I was worried about, right? Paws Gaming, they have that suppression, but where's the damage? Where's the burst damage? Usually you see the Winter is here for that set combo from the Princess Frost, but in terms of Paws Gaming, once they hit the level 4s, I don't see a damage factor unless Myosotis and Feng Jie, they are both there.
Yeah, but the threat is real. I think that it's more of like respect when but they knock up.
Yeah, the knockup is there, and they do have that itemization answer from side of Fable to actually be able to just whatever inside, but not enough, right? Paws Gaming, well, their HP bars are just a little bit too tanky. Now we do have Woodwind taking a bit of damage from Jie. He actually uses the Parasol to go on and puts one behind as well to be able to poke out of harm's reach. Now both teams trying to poke and prod to get the first blood of the game, but net worth still even.
Yeah, still even at this point. Again, it's a very, very risky proposition taking any sort of team fights. Both sides are very squishy, and they do have a lot of damage, but it's all about that gank potential. This is the set sail used by Snow just to kind of rotate to the mid lane because the Tyrant is going to be the next big target here for Paws.
Yeah, Fable trying to match the rotation as fast as possible, but timer will be in the hands of Paws Gaming already. Now, Myosotis, he's in a bit of a pincer movement coming in. Now, with that jump coming in from Fable, with the flash, does Myosotis go for the reply? Yes, and the first blood being picked up by Xiao Yang here. Myosotis, he wants more as Sky. He has to retreat, and will they get the clean disengage? Yes, Fearless Esports, they lose one, but they cut their losses. Feng Jie going in for more. Does have the Parasol to go away, though. Woodwind not in danger.
Yeah, so you don't really need a whole lot of damage. The fact that Qinglin uses the suppression for that control, locks down Yin, and again, that's how you just take them out. I mean, everybody is so squishy from the side of Fearless.
Yeah, Fable might be looking like he's in a bit of trouble here, but Myosotis, he's taking a lot of turret damage, has to use Return to Dust.
Yeah, and look, I mean, he's going to just recall back to safety, and Fable will take the launch pad back into the lane. But all in all, not the worst thing for them. But again, a little bit more just pressure. Paws Gaming, very different game from the last one. They're up about 1.7 at this point, which is actually pretty huge. Paws Gaming do a great job when they have a lead.
Yeah, slightly ahead in terms of jungle farm, in terms of net worth, as well as Myosotis compared to Sky, and he already has the Blazing Cape compared to Sky's itemization, right? And for this, Feng Jie, he's in a bit of trouble, but let's have the Parasol to go away, and the Power Ridge suppression is there from Qinglin as well, so there's no further engagements.
Yeah, Feng Jie, I mean, look, it seemed very routine, very basic. He had the Parasol, the light stuff back to safety and all that stuff, but man, if he makes a slight, error in terms of where that Parasol goes, he dies. But the control here.
Yeah, control is there. Woodwind, well, you do have the Unending Sorrow, but the set sailed. He wants more action. Lands onto 2 right now. Fable and Sky, they're both in the bush. This is not where Snow wants to be, but he's continuing to team fight. Sky will be able to disengage Myosotis. Still going for the chase, but their key is set on this mid lane here. They want this middle lane turret, and no defense coming out for Fearless Esports. They cannot defend this.
Yeah, cannot at this point. I mean, the board had locked in KK. He was not able to run away. And Myosotis is doing some work. Sky's going to be a little uncomfortable. He wants to be farming across the map, and he's not given any sort of space. Paws Gaming at it.
Yeah, KK falling extremely low, but Snow and Myosotis already out. That Chosen and the whatever's coming out from Fable, too much to handle. Unending Sorrow being used by Woodwind right now, but still just providing a lot of keep away factors. Fearless Esports, they keep all 5 members, but they lose that Crimson Golden buff.
Yeah, I mean, Paws Gaming right now, losing Snow and Myosotis is actually huge. Oh, control.
Yeah, control Woodwind. He does have that flash away. So that's 2 minutes, right? That's 2 minutes of flash timer gone. And that means that Mournful Temple setup is not available anymore. So the Imperial Order has to be used raw until the 9-minute mark.
Yeah, look at this one. I mean, look, losing Snow and Myosotis was actually pretty huge. But they stuck around and they kind of found out that Fearless Esports, actually, if they get the jump on you, you're going to die. They have a lot of burst. They have that potential, right? Especially with Yin making some plays. Again,
yeah, he does find that knockup, but the Feng Jie damage not enough. Feng Jie responds. Now set sail found on to Sky potentially, but he does have the mobility to get across the terrain. Now Fable on the top lane, providing a lot of pressure here.
Yeah, I like the fact that he's cutting the creeps right now and putting, again, that pressure on the top lane. When you're losing, this is the way you kind of get back in the game. Sometimes you get caught out, but it's just all about buying time. Oh, the flash forward.
Yeah, flash forward is there, but Unending Sorrow is there to just disengage, right? Fearless Esports, they don't want to be any part of this. Now Fable coming in with the suction. Now he does find the kill onto Qinglin, but that does not matter. The power control is gone. So for Paws Gaming, it's all hands on deck. Just get out.
Oh, Fable with an amazing gank attempt on that side. I mean, yeah, he got Qinglin, but they traded away Woodwind. What a nice gank. And it started with this. Woodwind actually a little survivable with that Unending Sorrow, and they were actually looking to back away. But now, Fable is waiting. Perfect moment. Gets the pull, gets a little serious, punches the guy with a punchable face with those glasses, and Leon goes down.
Yeah, very punchable indeed. And the rest of the team, they want to get Snow. Snow will eventually go down. Tyrant already going the way of Fearless Esports, but they're extremely low. Jumping in is Myosotis. He does get the finish. 1-for-1. Yin will be out of the map. That's a Chosen gone. They have to retreat here, Fearless Esports. They put all members behind.
Yeah, a lot of pressure. I mean, I think they'll be happy with that trade. Mai, at some point, is has not had the greatest of times. Yin, that is. Especially as we enter the 10-minute mark, he might struggle. He needs to play a little bit more passively, stay alive more than anything else. Let the teams group up and let him have that team crowd control, which will be key for those team fights. But again, it's about surviving, not dying as many times as he has.
Yeah, now Xiao Yang, he's in a bit of trouble. He does manage to get the ultimate up, but Woodwind, he's the only one in that board. Now, Fable able to get out Sky. He has the mobility to jump away as well. But Paws Gaming, they are 5 strong right now. Fearless Esports, they are playing very well around the pit. They manage to get damage through.
Every single team fight's so scary, right? Like, Feng-Ji gets hit like 2 or 3 times, and he's at like 25% life. Like, everybody is just like a glass cannon. Yes, they do so much damage, but the single basics are doing so much work that it's very scary for you to be slightly out of position.
Yeah, then now Chosen completely disrupted by the control here now with the rest of Mysotis and the members going in. Set sail in the back line. Xiao Yang, the first to go down, surprisingly, but Paws Gaming, they're at a clear advantage. They take out Yin. KK in danger of going down. He eventually does. Feng Jie does find the rampage as well. Now Sky, he has to get out for his life. He has to play the macro. Mysotis still chasing him down, but Sky will have the mobility for now. 3-4-1, that's really Paws Game in favor.
Yeah, absolutely huge. I mean, KK going down is the biggest thing. And Feng-Ji has not died this game. His control has been impeccable, understanding the actual limits on the Arlie, always ensuring that he stays alive, has that perfect paracel. It's never been in a wrong spot. He's 402, 10,000 net worth. Like, the dude is absolutely carrying this game.
Yeah, we talked about all eggs in the Feng Jie basket, and it seems so apt, especially for the series. The first game, we saw him go crazy on the Lady Sun, but now he's had a very clinical game on this Arlie so far. But now Snow, he might find himself in a little bit of trouble, does have to set sail to get away, actually uses it to re-engage, jumping onto Sky. Sky in a bit of trouble, but Fable, he has to get out with the whatevers as well. But Feng Jie already in the backline underneath Zaro, being used here. Woodwind and Yin go down as the rest of the members, they have to disengage. Shadow Overlord is up, but they have a lot of lane pressure, and Paws Gaming, they want to capitalize right now, going into that bottom lane, and will just take creeps until they get the lane pressure going.
I mean, blink and you miss it, right? Feng-Chi's just fighting by himself, 1 versus 2, getting those pickoffs. Yin and Woodwind go easily down, but they're going in.
Yes, it's still in the back line, but eventually Snow gets melted down. KK, he's trying to survive, but 3 members already taken out for Paws Gaming. They do have the creeps here. Sky is still alive. He's on that 1-man hole, but 1 man is not enough as the rest of the team members, they're here. They're scrambling as Paws Gaming, they actually take the base. They get that 2-0 lead. They put themselves at match point.
Crazy game there by Paws Gaming. I mean, just like Feng-Ji's just on another level. I mean, he was his net worth is sky high, understanding that, like, hey, I'm going to carry the game. He didn't die a single time. They just didn't have that control. I mean, there was no real way for him to be out of position and picked off because, you know, the way Feng-Ji moves around the map, especially with those paracels, is just on next level.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why Arlie is such a high top priority ban, because in the hands of a master, you technically can't do anything. We talked about the Imperial Order, right? Being a key moment to try and cash it out. We saw the Mournful Temple used multiple times against Feng Jie, but something that people don't realize that much, it's the weaker Arlies that lose to that matchup, because with a Maple Dance, you actually take away the full effects of the Imperial Order, right? If you can predict it coming, and Feng Jie, he predicted it 2 times in a row. So KK, he didn't really have much of an answer in that farm lane versus farm lane department.
Yeah, I mean, he was almost doubled in terms of net worth, right? I mean, he was just completely struggling. I mean, but Feng-Ji was just like next level, right? There was no stopping him. They needed to kind of go all in, figure out some way to kind of get some kind of control on him. Fable Sky did what they could. I mean, Yin, they were flying in everywhere, but they were never really able to find Feng-Ji in a bad spot, and he never really got caught out. And when he did, he would just get light step away. So again, his positioning far superior, 101,000 damage, 36% of the team's damage. Like, what did this guy not do?
Yeah, I mean, for the side of Fearless Esports, right, I just don't like the fact that they keep trying to take the trades going through for the side with Paws Gaming, because Paws Gaming, in terms of, yes, trades, well, eventually, Paws Gaming, if you take trades versus them, if you lose 1-for-1, they scale harder than you in the late game. You gotta wait for that power spike for KK to actually have itemizations, to actually have that equal farm against Fengjie before you're able to do anything. And since Fengjie was ahead, they could not find an inkling of space. And Paws Gaming, they completely dominated them. They put them in a position where they were forced to take fights because of that set sail, just pressure again and again. That power word control, it doesn't really find those kills, but it sets it up.
Yeah, it sets it up. I mean, that's the big, like, look, if anybody that's locked down, because you're so squishy, it's scary, right? And then people are like, okay, we need to kind of help him out, or we just isolate him. And then you see the set sail coming in, and then that's the secondary initiation. And then you're kind of stuck in that team fight. You really had nowhere to go. And then you see Fengjie just like finding picking people off from afar, like with the maximum limit kind of thing. And you'll see it in the highlights. Just, it's the Fengjie show.
Yeah, I mean, Paws Gaming, I mean, at that point, they really capitalized on that herd mentality coming out for Fearless Esports, right? We saw that when one member was down, they were like, yeah, we got to help him out. And they really capitalized. And the man to capitalize the most, Fengjie on Arlie right here. 8-0 and 2, 36% damage. Come on, please. I know Arlie's crazy, but oh, man.
No, I mean, it's one thing to play it perfectly, right? And to do all that damage, but he was just staying alive. Like, literally, you look at the Arlie, and then they just, like, will fall apart because they're just so squishy, and they're just, like, you know, again, a glass cannon. And they were never able to lock him down. They weren't able to just kind of find him. And this is the biggest struggle by Sky, because he's, like, again, a lot of pressure from game one. I'm just trying to find Fengjie. Was not able to do it. Game two, definitely not able to find him. And now we're going to go into a third game, and you got to figure out, like, how do we stop this freight train that is Fengjie?
Yeah, I mean, this guy, he's been the winning factor for both the games so far already. And it goes to show how oppressive he is on that farm lane role already, right? He wins the matchups, but also you got to take note of what the team is doing, consistently putting him in a position to find the farm. We saw in the early game, the rotations coming through, Lady Sun being put on the opposite side of the lanes. And also in this game, they put Arlie in the middle lane to funnel the farm through. And with the first bloods, yeah, they did get the advantage going, but Fearless Esports, right? I'm surprised that they actually lost Yin there.
Yeah, look, Yin was by himself. You get controlled, again, you're going to get caught out, right? This is the biggest thing, and this is why Qinglin, the Liang pick was so good, because they're just so squishy, and you lock these guys down. The Hanshin and the Mai, you lock those guys down, and you're basically guaranteed a kill. That's the biggest thing. In Fearless Esports, if you're looking at that draft, they didn't really have the counter play to really deal with that initiation.
Yeah, I mean, for the side of this power control, man, the suppression, it keeps setting up the perfect scenarios here. Fable, yes, he did get a good suction through. This is one of the fights where Paws Gaming lost, but still, it's only Qinglin, and he uses that ultimate already. If they don't get that team fight, it's okay. They can cut losses as well. Their mobility is there with the Parasol. Snow goes down, no problem, because everyone else is low HP, and you're just mobile. There's no sustainability there.
Yeah, no sustainability. But look at the positioning. Like, the board perfectly set up. Now you have to fight. Sky doesn't really want to take this one. Yes, he makes Zhao Ying fight, or he gets the kill on this one. But now Sky is trying to fight this 1 versus 3, 1 versus 4, not able to find it. Fengjie is just finding and just machine gunning everyone on the back line. So squishy at this point, and it's gravy for him.
Yeah, I mean, this seems such like a great setup opportunity, but of course, it was all slowly layered, right? Paws Gaming, they set that up perfectly. They made sure that the errors were coming out from the side of Fearless Esports. The suppression, the power word control coming out consistently from Liang. It's just that magical. That one button, it just does so much magic for Paws Gaming. And for Fengjie to have such a monster of a game, well, you said he was staying alive, right? And this is what I was imagining in my head, like Fengjie just singing along to the tunes of like the Bee Gees, staying alive.
Yeah. I think he could have played any song at this point. I mean, he was just like, get him, whatever is getting him in that groove, continue on, because Fengjie was just like, he'll be happy with just tearing up the enemy team. He was absolutely scary. Something that you got to take note of as we go into Game 3 coming up.
Yeah, Game 3 will be coming up shortly, but of course, we'll be going to a short break here as the players need some more time to prepare. Well, they need to get some water as well. And you guys get some water too, as we will be heading towards a short break. See you guys later. I guess not. Are we still here?
I think we're still here.
Hey guys. Hey guys, we're still here.
I'll be right back.
All right.
Stings. Victory!
Another round. Sure, but how about a smoother phone next time?
Realme 14. Performance beyond limits.
Unfaithful must be executed.
Sometimes working in a different way can be the best vacation. Seagull Circle, predicting victory. Clean up the trash! Break the boundary between sky and sea. You're not welcome at my beach. Get them! Beach sweepers! Follow your orders. Let's go! You're not welcome at my beach. Go! The sea here is dangerous. Clean up the trash.
Excuse me.
Hugging stings. Victory!
Another round. Sure, but how about a smoother phone next time?
Realme 14, performance beyond limits.
Hello and welcome back to the WKS Winner Bracket Finals. It's going to be Paws Gaming going up against, of course, Fearless Esports. My name is Holler. With me is Momin. Paws Gaming up 2-0. Momin, how did they strike back in that? Fearless Esports come back into this series.
Well, for Fearless Esports right now, I gotta say, right? With a name such as Fearless Esports, they better have some strategies planned here if they are going to have that reverse sweep, because there is no more comfier position than that grand finals place. Knowing that you are secure in the grand finals, well, you don't have to go through the best of fives, the loser brackets. You don't have to take a long way to the grand finals because Paradise Esports awaits you in the lower brackets.
Yeah, I mean, it is a huge advantage. I mean, you have to play less games, plus the fact that when you're in the lower bracket finals, you're kind of just showing your hand a bit, right? This team is going to be going up, whichever team it is going to be going against Paradise Esports. You have to show your next sorts of drafts. You can definitely do some preparation on your own of just seeing what sort of, heroes those players might like. I think it is definitely an edge, especially since you play less games potentially going into tomorrow.
Yeah, let's be just kind of thinking about the future a bit. Where if Fearless Esports or Paws Gaming does go down to meet Paradise Esports, well, Paradise Esports, well, they also need to put on their big boy pants, because in terms of match history, in terms of stats, let's just be a bit realistic here. Well, Paradise Esports has not fared too greatly against Fearless Esports or Paws Gaming, so they're gonna have to pull out some crazy strats tomorrow. But speaking about strats, these are the picks that they have already pulled out for Paws Gaming and also Fearless Esports. So Paws Gaming, they have taken out the early, right? They used the Ogren, they used the Byron already. Now they have that pay still available. So Paws Gaming, I still feel that, they still have some trump cards there.
Yeah, but look, every single time Fearless Esports has banned out the pay. This is a hero that's been largely out of control in the WKS. It has a 70% win rate. All the teams, especially Paws Gaming, know how to pilot the pay to its maximum. So they will continue to focus on that in the first phase banning. I think it's going to be smart, especially since, they're running out of heroes. If you're looking at the first two games that what Paws has already picked, those have been meta heroes. They're very strong. They're looking to close out this series quickly, but again, Fearless Esports need to stem the bleeding and then put themselves in a situation where they have a chance. And of course, at game 4 and 5.
Yeah, definitely there's a potential here, especially for Fearless Esports, if they want to start reverse sweeping, right? This is the start of the time where Paws Gaming, well, some of their key picks have been expended as well, right? Lady Zhen is gone on that middle lane. The Yixing is gone. Sunta for Snow is gone as well. That Liang will no longer be a possibility, especially if you want to jump the backlines. Knowing the play style of Sky, we know that he likes to go for the assassin jungles, right? We haven't seen him pull out the Jing, we haven't seen him pull out the Luna. So now, suddenly with Liang out of the pool, that might be an option for Fearless Esports, but that's of course if Paws Gaming doesn't ban that out first.
Yeah. I think that's going to be key, right? Going into this draft is going to be super important, right? Fearless Esports, you have nothing to lose at this point. You got to go all in with game 3. Again, pull out the victory so that you can kind of just, again, stem the bleeding, give yourself a chance for that game 4 and 5. But game 3, ever so important, ensuring that they could even use some of the drafts that Paws has used against them.
Yeah, definitely showing your hand and, of course, copying other people's strats. I don't feel that it's really copying other people's strats, right? You still have to play it to your own playstyle. It's more about playing towards what you're comfortable with. And whether that is a strategy you're comfortable with, whether it is in your playbook, sometimes meta is still meta. And these teams still succumb to draftings, where drafts, sometimes they just win. And yeah, I just feel for Fearless Esports, they haven't been winning the drafts.
Yeah, I mean, look, Fearless Esports had that chance game 1. That was like their best one. Game 2, not as great. It was the Fengji show. But I think going into game 3, it's not only about that draft. Yes, it's super important. And we're talking about the edge and the advantage going into it. But you also need to stop the play style of Paws Gaming, which is all about revolving around Fengji. You stop this man and you put a little bit of pressure, make somebody else step up. I mean, I think that Paws Gaming has a very well-balanced lineup where they're able to do it. But at least for now, this is one strategy. Again, make somebody else step up.
Yeah, I mean, this is a time for a lot of people to step up for Fearless Esports. I feel like, especially for Sky, he's been doing extremely well in the regular season, but he hasn't been finding any success, right? And we start to see that he's become a bit frustrated on the Hansen, where there has to be a bit of disjointedness coming into the engages of his team. But of course, this might not mean that there is discord within the Fearless Esports organization itself. I'm just saying that this is Paws Gaming causing this kind of discord, where the suppression, that power word control coming in from Liang was so good. And this is the first time that I see Tinglin really stepping up as a support to really control that pace of the game. And it's Liang, I gotta say, right? Well, I had my doubts at first, but after I saw this, well, sign me up. I'm on the Paws Gaming squad. Every single one of them looks like an MVP, because in that game, Tinglin, he set it up. But in the backline, well, Feng Jie, he did the heavy lifting.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's the reason why Fengji had such a great time is because everybody really just kind of gave him that space to farm and to ensure that he was able to, like, stay alive, right? Those controls were on point. Every single time that they would go in with the Mai, he got locked down, and he was going for him as much as possible. And then that control, that sort of support is exactly what you need. Give yourself a real good chance on that one. But it comes, again, to that draft. That last pick, Liang, was absolutely impeccable.
Yeah, I mean, that last pick, Liang, oh man, you called it out perfectly, man. You're just like, oh yeah, they go for a Hansen. Well, they go for a Liang here, right? They go for a Liang. And I have my doubts because they didn't have enough damage, but that Yao pick really came in extremely clutch, right? The way that Mayu Sotis played that Yao was to have that similar level of mobility. When you apply the power control, well, you bring the threat of the mobility, and he has so much damage as well. And of course, he does have some form of sustain. With the return to dust, you actually go back 2 seconds in time, and yeah, that's a very good mobility tool to just disengage.
I mean, look, if we're going to go back to that draft, right, they had a last pick, right, from Fearless Esports. Why would you pick the Han Xin in the first phase when you allow the Liang or some other control to just kind of lock you down, right? This is why the drafting and how you draft is super key. This is why you don't want like a Luna first pick. You don't want, like a Jing. Like you're showing your hand, right? And so this is one of those things where the last pick needs to be that trump card. The last pick for you and the trump card in the last draft was a D Renjie, which could have easily picked in the first phase and not shown anything.
Yeah, I mean, this is the part where I feel that Fearless Esports, they lack a bit of control when it comes to these drafting patterns, because they've been showing their cards very early, right? And it's been working for them in the regular season where teams did not really have an answer. But when it comes to a team like Paws Gaming, they have better drafting patterns where they will be able to counter out later on. They set the traps along the way. It is a very layered process for them where they are trapping you with the drafts. It's not just in gameplay themselves. They actually counter you out so well. Where we saw in the first game, right? That Lady Zun pick into that Dun and Dolia. You showed your hand. Dun and Dolia, what you're gonna do? Suddenly a Disruptive Deluge comes out and that Lady Zun was not accounted for. I feel like they need to have a certain set strategy that they need to use, and they need to have a ban list for that.
Yeah. I mean, the drafting has been far superior from Paws Gaming, and they've made them pay, right? They've been able to counterpick. They've had like hidden what they're trying to do, as well as just striking back and understanding the actual counter drafts. I think it's super key for them to continue that success with Paws Gaming because, again, having like the lane matchups as well as like the team composition, you have answers and you need to just solve all the problems that the enemy will throw at you. And being able to be very smart with how you draft is going to be key. I think Fearless Esports, we've seen some gaps, or Paws Gaming has just been next level with their drafts where they've kind of made Fearless Esports look very plain, dare I say.
Yeah, and for Paws Gaming, something that really just speaks to me is their willingness to let go of the textbook, right? Where you see the early, you instantly think, oh, maybe they're going for the Diadea, maybe they're going for the Da Chao, but they didn't go for that. They went for the Liang instead, and they let that support pick become the last pick to actually counter out what comes later on, which was the Han Xin. And also you see that Yixing pick where, yeah, it's usually paired with something along the lines of a Dharma or a Zhang Fei, but once again, they went for the Liang and the Yao pick. The ability to adapt and let go of the textbook to understand what things works. They have that versatility to do so and say that, yeah, this hero is still going to work. They have trialed, they have experimented enough to know the limits of every single hero to use different permutations of drafts.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, right? But everyone knows their role on the team as well, right? Xiaoyang, I mean, we're talking about the Yixing right now, and Yixing is like, it's great in almost any sort of draft. You have a lot of control. That board is absolutely amazing. So it's not, again, you're showing a very balanced lineup, and then you're seeing what they're pulling at the end, and then having the right counter pick. Paws Gaming doing a great job of the draft phase. Fearless Esports need to not show so much, especially early in that first phase of the draft.
Yeah, I mean, it's about showing your hand too early. Like, well, we've been harping on them showing their hand too early, and I just hope that they get the message, right? I hope that they know that, yeah, this is one of the factors that really put them behind Paws Gaming, where Paws Gaming have been able to find an answer so easily. And for us, it's clear as day, yes, sure, but it takes a lot of time to adapt to as well, right? It takes a lot of time to really adjust to a pattern that the other team is doing. And hopefully, even if they don't do it today, well, I hope that they look back at it, and eventually when they go up against Paradise Esports, if they go to the lower bracket or they meet them again in the grand finals, they do have that experience to say, yeah, now we're going to switch things up, and that's where things become interesting.
Yeah, I think going into this one, you don't want to show everything. I think that is key. It is just the winter bracket finals. You have a lifeline, right? In that sense that you can drop in. You might be playing against Paradise Esports. Obviously, you don't want to play that many games or whatever. And it tends to be more of like a stamina like test more than anything else. But the most important thing is just having those trump cards when it really matters, which is, of course, the grand finals. There's only one slot that's going to the KWC. That is the most important thing in the WKS.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot about that, where these teams, they're playing for that shot to go to the international. So this is very important. This lifeline is at stake here. You have a chance to represent the entire region's hopes and dreams. So this is not just glory. This is not just money. That's also a lot of pressure for these players. So you see that Fearless Esports, yes, they've been crazy dominating. They won Paws Gaming before, but who wants it more? Who has the better adaptability? And this best of 5, it has shown that Paws Gaming to be the favorite one so far. And for Fearless Esports, well, they need a lot of tenacity to answer back.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just look at every single game as the best of one, right? Because that's essentially what they are for Fearless Esports. It's one of those things where you have to just shake off what happened in games 1 and 2. Game 1 especially is going to be tough to kind of, brush that one off. But I think that for them, this is the true test, right? True champions lose games. If you're seeing what Nova Esports did in Season 3 as well as MKL that was just going on, is that they've lost some games. They've been able to strike back, and they've been even more resilient, and they've been able to come back because of it. And they're a much stronger team because of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good quote right there. I'm going to start using it from now on. True champions lose games. So definitely it's a learning experience. It's about really bouncing back, right, from that kind of pressure, bouncing back from that situation as well. That is that true test as well. Winning every single game, well, sometimes when you win too much, when you start losing, you just can't find out the reason why. But you throw some losses in between, suddenly it becomes a very meaningful lesson.
Yeah, and I to be honest, I feel like if you're losing your games and you're watching the replay and you don't know what is going wrong, chances are it's what you're doing, right? So you're making some mistakes somewhere else. You can't control what everyone else on your team is doing. It's all about accountability. And I love, all jokes aside, I love to blame my teammates, but I do look at them and I do kind of learn from my own mistakes and I look to get better, especially in my solo rank queues games.
Yeah, I mean, about self-improvement as well. This is really not just a lesson in esports. I always feel like, Holler, you're teaching me more about life every day. So yeah, that's why you're the dad. You're the dad. You're the dad of HOK. I feel that every day I'm learning much more from you. And for you guys that don't know, Holler, he's my dad, by the way.
Okay. Maybe we're gonna have to talk to your mom a bit. I think this is a conversation we should have together more than anything else. Let's not go there. And I'm not paying for child support. Let me be very clear with that. But yeah. Once it gets smokes, I'm done. I'm out. There was a reason why there's a gap, and I haven't seen you for so many years. But it's great to be on the table with you, on the desk, so to speak. But going into game 3, going to be key, right? I think that's the most important thing, of just being able to kind of bounce back, especially for Fearless Esports. They've kind of been shaken up, even from Friday, even to today. They haven't had the greatest showing, and going into that final game against Paws in the regular season really shook them up, showed a lot of weaknesses of this team, and I think Fearless Esports are kind of reeling from that moment.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of resilience shown from Paws Gaming, but it's also the culmination of the entire regular season, right? In the regular season, we were building up to that last day where the Paws and Fearless Esports matchup was going to happen again. We saw them once in the qualifiers. Fearless Esports, they got the better of them in the qualifiers, and we saw that Fearless Esports, they dismantled them the correct way in that first game. That was the Fearless Esports we saw in the qualifiers. They went after Snow, they went after Myosotis, and eventually they went after Feng Jie. But now it seems like Feng Jie, he has leveled a notch up. He seems like he cannot be touched, but that's also a testament to his team defending him extremely well. Maybe they learned the lessons from that previous brush with Fearless Esports, where they are like, yeah, they go for this strategy. Right now, we got to make sure that we double down on making sure that one of our win conditions stay alive. And it seems like it's Feng Jie so far. So right now in the next game, they might make an overcorrection. I feel that you suddenly just go after Feng Jie too hard. You start tunnel visioning on him too hard, and you forget about Myosotis and Snow. So while taking care of these kind of aspects, it's also something that's very important to not lose sight of what led you here in the first place.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, right? I think just being able to kind of stick to what works for you, and then ensuring that you're continuing on with that momentum, right? And it's hard to build it up in a must-win game here. And we haven't really seen Fearless, other than game 1, really have some of that momentum, right? Again, when you have a lead, it's much easier to play with. Game 2 was tough. How they bounce back going to be key in terms of just kind of building that. I think they need to be more aggressive. They need to kind of, as you were talking about earlier about Feng Jie just like popping off, he needs to be focused. Paws Gaming right now, very well balanced lineup though, so it's not the easiest thing to do, because again, somebody steps up, but you need to kind of make them do so. You need them to change their strategy in some fashion.
Yeah, I mean, for Fearless Esports, definitely it's also a matter of getting over their past mistakes, getting over what they have done wrong. It's about a lot of steps, right? It's a journey of self-recovery for them. And, I really feel for them, because at this point, well, I was once like them, and there was a period of time where, I was really bashing on myself, where like, I'm not doing enough, whether or not I'm not stepping up enough as a pro player. And it really gets to you. It's one part of the journey, but of course, as long as you keep getting better, you eventually start winning something. And for Fearless Esports right now, sometimes you just gotta take the L. And I feel that those 2 games, well, you gotta treat it like a mental reset. Those 2 games never happen. This is a 3-0 or nothing series, or we just go down to the lower bracket and we face them again tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. I don't want to get the cart ahead of the horse on this point, but if you're Paradise Esports and you're kind of watching, Fearless Esports kind of struggle a bit, what are the takeaways for you in that series tomorrow? Like to give you that slight edge, seeing that, again, Fearless Esports hasn't had the greatest time today.
Yeah, I mean, for the side of Fearless Esports, for the entire regular season, right? For me, I've said it before and I'm saying it again. It has been the Sky and KK show. And for Sky, he's been really much heavily shut down by the side of Paws Gaming. And also KK, with that Feng Jie 1v1 lineup, well, Feng Jie, he has him totally dismantled. And I feel that if Paradise Esports, they can emulate that, well, that's one of the winning factors that Paws Gaming are leading them to win the games, but also a lot of small little decision making. And I gotta say, something that Paws Gaming are doing is something that you can't teach, which is a lot of game sets, right? The map rotations that you're seeing out from Paws Gaming, going for certain buffs at certain timings, and when you see at the 8-minute mark, they start to really disengage from the main objectives to go for the turrets as well. These are small little adjustments that Paws Gaming make depending on what's going on with Fearless Esports, because they have that vision game up. And this is, I would say, you know those stat bars that you see where you gotta mix up every single stat? Well, Paws Gaming seems like they have their intelligence at an all-time high. They have agility at an all-time high. They have every single stat line really maxed out at this point.
Okay, well, if you've got all the stats maxed out, I think you're cheating, right? Because that's not how the D&D system works. Everything needs to be balanced. Like you could be like dumb as rocks, but you might be super strong. Like that, there needs to be some sort of trade-off. But like all jokes aside, Paws Gaming really, I don't see a whole lot of weaknesses. They've done such a great job of counter play, and ensuring that the success of Feng Jie has been more around the team. They've done some great job, especially early. They're doing some lane swaps so that he always has the advantage going in. He's never been put into the farm lane just at a straight up one-on-one. They've not been stock standard. They've always been adjusting and evolving their play style, and has really caught Fearless Esports off guard.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of versatility as well, it feels like, yeah, Sky has been pretty much the one-hit wonder of WKS, right? Where he was that guy where, yeah, he came out of nowhere and suddenly just started destroying everyone. But after a while, people start reading his patterns. People start reading what he starts to do. His Han Sin looks incredibly amazing when I first saw it. But for Paws Gaming, they had it on complete lockdown. They had it on complete read as well. They know the full versatility. Even we know the full versatility of Sky. I have not seen him play anything else other than the Han Sin. Yeah, maybe the Ogren, the Dun, the Pei as well. But those are the stock standards that he have. But when it goes to another longer series where the hero pool gets thinned out, can he play the obscure heroes? For Maya Sotis, we start to see the Yao coming out. We start to see different heroes coming out. We know that he can play a crazy Lam as well. So there is the versatility there. For Sky, he has yet to show me that.
Yeah. I mean, look, his job has been to kind of find Feng Jie. He's failed, right? And I think that somebody else really needs to step up with him. Sky has not been able to just literally fly, right, as of now. Again, you were talking about the fact that he's farming MVPs, but he's not able to kind of farm those MVPs when you're kind of struggling to really find that farm laner who ends up killing you one-on-one, right? So it's more of like, I want to be like, hey, Sky, you need to step up. You need to play better. But it's more of like the team really just being on the same page. There were definitely some discrepancies in the game 1 when they were looking to initiate. They're not on the same target. Game 2, we saw a little bit more of that, where it's just not very clean. And it seems very uncharacteristic of Fearless Esports to kind of be playing from behind and to really struggle like they've been struggling for this, like at least that last game.
Yeah, and for those of you that are wondering what the wait is all about, of course, please give us some time. We do need the players to get ready as well. And of course, we do need to make sure they're comfortable to play the best game, to give you guys the best experience possible in HOK. And of course, if you are looking forward to the games, also look forward to the gift codes that will be appearing on the screen. And these are first come, first serve. So I would recommend right now, open up your HOK app and then go to that bottom left, click on menu, you see that community button, click on community. If you have not been going to community, I don't know what you're doing, because there's a 7-day sign in there and you can get free stuff. But for the CD keys, you are going to look for that CD key button. open up that CD key button and of course, enter the code as soon as you see it, because for today there is a chance that you might get an epic skin. So this is something that you guys can look forward to, and you guys can start preparing beforehand while the teams are preparing themselves as well. And we will be going into the bans and drafts really soon, but of course, bear with us as we need to talk for a little bit more about Fearless Esports versus Paws Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that we've said all that we could, and we're just waiting for the game to start at this point. But I'm looking more for the future in this one. Not to say that the series is over. Fearless Esports definitely have the potential and the skills to overcome the series. But we got to think about where they're going to go potentially, right? Paws Gaming right now looks unstoppable. They look like the Titan, the true Titan of the WKS, and we saw that in the regular season. They're undefeated for a reason, and Fearless Esports have not really had an answer for the freight train that is Paws Gaming at this point, as they've been just running at them, so to speak. I think that losing 2 games and being in a bit of a pickle at this point is going to be like the true test of how they respond as a team. We talk about draft, we talk about, coordination, all these things really need to kind of be a little bit different, especially in game 3. But it's really up to Fearless to really execute here.
Okay, so Holler, I mean, I have a very hard question for you, but I'm gonna give you some time to think first, all right? So first of all, I'm gonna ask you the question. You think about it while I say my piece. So my question now is for Paws Gaming or Fearless Esports, right? Whichever teams that make it out into the KWC, you did cast the KME after all, and you know the teams that are gonna be the competitors at KWC, right? What do you think their power level is to comparing to these teams? And meanwhile, for me, I would say my piece because I came from KPL as well, and I casted the Chinese games. So something that I gotta say, right? Chinese games in the sense where we saw AG taking the championship, and for Chengdu AG, they've been doing an extremely great job. There's a reason why they are the champions, the reason of the versatility coming out. This is somewhat I see from a mini kind of Pause perspective, but in terms of taking objectives, in terms of not letting go and punishing plays, I feel that AG, they have perfected it, and they are extremely fluid when it comes to losing maps and taking back map control. They do it in a much swifter pace than Paws Gaming, and it feels very accelerated. So that's something that most teams are going to have to watch out for.
Yeah. I mean, okay, to answer your question, I think that it's hard to decide. And I hate to be like, oh, sit on the fence on this one, because this is a team that has just like taken over, right? They've not lost a single game, and they haven't really faced as much adversity, right? Going up against one of the other Titans in the other, the regions, they might struggle, right? And how they play, that's going to be the true test, right? Are they capable? Like we saw, I want to talk about Nongshim here, because this is a team that had struggled many a times just trying to get to the international stage. They finally made it to season 3, and they took their licks, and they were able to kind of come back. Every single series went the distance. They learned so much that this is a team that's very strong, especially in that KME where they were almost very dominant, right? So you need that adversity and to kind of to see what those weaknesses are, to shore them up as you take it to the next level. We haven't really seen too much. Obviously, Paws Gaming has been tested here by Fearless Esports, but have they really been tested? When they lose that first game, what's going to happen? Does this team crumble, or are they able to overcome?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we are going to have to find out, as we are still trying to find out who the representative is. And of course, you'll find out tomorrow, right? Today, you'll be seeing the upper bracket finals. It is Fearless Esports going up against Paws Gaming. And first of all, which team loses, they will go and fight against Paradise Esports. Winner of that will go to the grand finals, and there might be a potential rematch tomorrow, but it will be a best of 7. And you guys all know what best of 7 means, right? If we reach that 7th game, we are going to have that ultimate battle. And ultimate battle is where, well, you get to choose any single hero for your draft. So we are looking at potential mirror matches or potential counter matches. So there is a lot of possibilities if you go the distance.
Yeah. I mean, look, the Ultimate Battle is so much fun, right? Being able to just kind of pick that one special lineup, your tried and true, backs on the wall. This is the hero that I want. We've seen some epic battles. Yes, there have been some, mirror picks, and it's been making for like who's a better Mai, for instance. But the games have been absolutely epic, right? I think that that's the best part. A global ban pick has just added just a completely different angle to the MOBA scene. It's been very interesting, where every single draft is different, right? And having the players learn some of the newer heroes, the deep, hero pools that are available to teams and players is just a huge advantage. And you see it even more so when those global ban picks are happening in like games of best of fives or best of sevens.
Yeah, I mean, if you are an aspiring pro player, well, I guess you can practice the global ban pick system. Well, let's say you pick this for today for the ranked game, then going into the next game, right? You pick something else. Well, yeah, you start to do that. And somehow you start to experience what it is like to play on the pro scene, where eventually your hero pool gets thinned out. Consistently, it gets read by other people as well. You know that certain heroes you cannot play for the rest of the day. I have tried it myself, and it is an extremely arduous task. I'm a farm laner, so of course the options have become extremely limited by the time I reach maybe 5 or 6, and people start questioning me why I'm starting to play Huang Zhong on the farm lane, because maybe that's something that I want to do.
Yeah. I mean, just open things up, right? Give yourself like a little bit more of a chance, just kind of changing things up a bit. But yeah, I think the draft will be underway soon. I think that there was a little bit of a hiccup in terms of one of the teams just getting ready for this one. But I think we're ready. We're good to go. I'm excited to see exactly how Paws, Fearless Esports bounces back in this series, because this is must win, right? They're down 2-0 right now, and going up against the Titan that is Paws Gaming, who are looking to be an incredibly strong team.
Yeah, I mean, Pause Gaming, they have been showing up very hard. And I feel that for the rest of the teams watching, for the rest of the leagues watching, well, definitely there's going to be a lot of other regions watching as well. Like, I feel that at this point, right, it's about measuring up your opponents right now. And I just wonder what is in their head when they see Pause Gaming going up against Fearless Esports and having such a dominant game, especially since the other regions, well, you do know that they have found their KWC ticket holders. Right now for WKS, it's much more of still a toss-up in the mix. It might be Fearless, it might be Pause Gaming, and who knows, it might be Paradise Esports. Well, we do have 2 regions, right, left out of 4. And I feel that for these 2 regions, they do represent the hopes and dreams coming out from the wildcard region.
Yeah, and that would be the epic tale, right? If Paradise Esports were able to somehow pull off the miracle run from the lower bracket and to take over and just like, I'll be like, haha, actually, this is not our real game. This is our true form. And they show up and they just like outshine Fearless Esports as well as Pause Gaming. I think that would be absolutely the story to take going into KWC, because that would be an absolutely epic task. But let's be honest, a huge mountain ahead of them.
I mean, if Paradise Esports do that, that's a huge step, because knowing that they were the only Laotian representative and having that, well, that little Cinderella story, I would say, going into KWC, that as you said, it's like really a huge task. I gotta say, in terms of skill level, they're not ready. But we're just speaking of what ifs, right? What if they actually get in? What if they pull off the greatest anime comeback of all time and they take out Pause Gaming and Fearless Esports? Because that is a possibility. And in this world, there's nothing that's impossible.
Yeah, nothing is impossible, of course. I think that that's the biggest thing, especially in the Honor Kings world, right? We've seen teams just really step up. A lot of the teams have gotten better since we first saw them, and just kind of qualifying and like getting those reps in against the other very, very strong teams has just made everybody in the regions much better. And having that one final slot in the WKS, super key for this one, because again, you're not only showing the flag of your region, country, all that. But you're also kind of representing the WKS, right? Which is a huge honor in and of itself. And being able to take it to that international stage of being like, hey, I'm the best of that one, of the region. Let's get it, right? Let's continue on and take even more lessons learned. And I know a lot of the teams that did not do as well in, the season 3 championship, as well as EWC last year, those teams have gotten stronger. They've improved. They've learned from their mistakes. So all the teams are starting to level up. And again, we're going to have to see exactly how the cookie crumbles, so to speak, in the KWC coming up.
Yeah, I mean, this is something to look forward towards as you guys as well. We're going to be determining who goes to KWC for WKS. And of course, you guys already know, right? Especially if you guys have been following all our socials, you guys know which countries have the representatives that are coming up. I won't mention the teams, of course, but you guys already know. And you know who are the ones that they might potentially meet in the group stages. Of course, the KPL, they do get a bye and they are in the playoffs already. But for these regions, will they be able to measure up? As we go into the KWC, well, these are the things to start looking forward to because the hype is real. This international is going to happen in a matter of a month.
Yeah. Look, after everyone qualifies, everyone could take a little bit of a sigh of relief in the sense of, hey, you made it, but now we need to kind of prepare for that KWC, which is going to be happening mid-July. And again, there's a lot of boot camping that's going to be there, right? I think that we're going to see exactly how the teams want to, play against, how they want to scrim, how they want to prepare for this, because again, this is going to be no small task. Being able to play against the KPL teams, as you've rightly pointed out, very strong teams, definitely different region. And I dare I say the forerunners of just how Honor of Kings is supposed to be played, right? They've been there through the trenches and they've kind of shown out what exactly are the best heroes and strategies and all that. So you're going to have to see exactly how to test against some of the squads and just, are you going to be ready?
I mean, you're an Asian dad. I mean, the results speak for itself. So yeah, you do know that they have been winning just pretty much handedly every single time. So of course, this is going to be a new challenge presented. Once again, this is that ever unsurmountable obstacle that most teams will have to face. But of course, now we have this obstacle that Fearless Esports have to face. Paws Gaming versus Fearless Esports, 2-0, match point, going to grand finals, whoever that reaches 3.
All right, so it looks like we're finally in the draft here. Fearless Esports are going to be picking first. They're going to be on the blue side. They've changed it up. They've been on the red throughout. But it looks like they're going to be trying to target Paws as much as possible, right? Fangji, I would be not surprised if they went with 4 bans in the farm lane just to kind of attack him.
Yeah, I mean, definitely in terms of just not giving away the early, yeah, but now that Fearless Esports is on that first pick. Now they are going for much more of a trap play, right? Having that Long taken out, having that My Sharnui taken out. This gives the option for Fearless Esports to go for the paid Luna if they want to go for it. They know that Paws Gaming, they don't have the Liang available right now. So that counter action, that straight up counter is gone. But, well, Paws Gaming, they are going to have the answers responsible for it.
Oh, well, finally, there we go. The pay special. This is the one that Sky needs to really get going. It's perfect for this lineup, perfect for this draft, because this is exactly what they want to do, especially in Game 3. They need to strike back. They need to strike back early, strongly, and just look to close this game out. And I think the pay Sky here from Fearless Esports, a very formidable hero as a first pick.
Yeah, it is. It is. Sky finally let his wings, just air out a little bit. He has to pay now. Paws Gaming, they're not going to let him fly just yet. So now they do pick up Dharma and Dun, having that Unruly Blade. They do have that Dolia possibility as well. So Paws Gaming themselves, they haven't played the Dolia. So they pick up the Dharma first because they know that Fearless Esports, they're not going to be able to take it up.
Yeah, no chance at this point. But look, the Dune Dharma, Double D's, love them. I think that's going to be a great little combination. Setting it up, it's going to be a very tough, strong top lane, right, with that jungler right there. But Fearless Esports looking to go a little bit more of the counter pick, the Moats and the Lady Jeanne to kind of a little bit more control, especially when you see that Dune and Dharma running in at you. You're going to have to just slow them down. But they do have damage. They need another damage dealer from Fearless, though.
Yeah, I mean, for Fearless Esports, with the Mozi pick, well, I was looking forward to the Mozi Shoya combo, right? Where Woodwind and KK, they've been playing very well together. And now that, well, we are in the second stages of the ban, Paws Gaming, they might be potentially looking to ban it out. They do take out the Sunsurf first because they don't want that set sail to actually disrupt their back lines. Now, for Fearless Esports, they do ban out that Dolia because, well, Dolia Dun is still a possibility. But for Paws Gaming to let that out, they have a clear confidence with the strategies that they are about to employ because they already had that Nuwa. They already have that Dharma as well. Now they're just looking for some form of potential setup. So Zhang Fei might be in the cards for Paws Gaming as well.
Yeah, so the Nua here, more of a counter pick to the Lady Jean. And I'm sure you've heard me say this before, but I'm not a Nua fan because it's like a win more hero. If you're ever behind, I feel like it really struggles. But, you know, going up against the Fearless Esports lineup of a pay, which is going to kind of dictate the pace early and to kind of be aggressive, chances are Paws will be from playing from behind early. So again, just more reasons why I don't like it. I understand why you pick it because the Annihilation could be very good, especially against 3 squishy lineups of Fearless Esports thus far. But it's not the greatest pick. I mean, I'm okay with it at this point.
Yeah, Paws Gaming at this point, well, I gotta say, right, they either go for that farm laner, which is to counter pick out the shoulder that might be coming out from the side of Fearless Esports, but they do go for the Diet D, right? Not giving them that option. But of course, they already have that Mozi. The Handed Blast is going to be an issue, especially if you have a squishy that needs to be protected, which is going to be that Nuwa. They're going to have that trial and error option, but Fearless Esports, they opt for more mobility. They don't want to have that liability of Shouyue, where he needs to be protected all the way until the late game, so they go for the Chano instead. And a very surprising pick for Fearless Esports, and this is your backs against the wall. They pick up the Naza, and this is extremely cool. Going into the Dun without the sustain of that Dolia, without that double unruly blade, Naza does extremely well because you actually take out the regeneration factor a bit and you're able to match him in terms of rotations with a Skyfall.
Yeah, but I'm not a huge fan of the Neza pick, especially as the last one for them. The D-Renjay, obviously you need a farm laner, so this is gonna be the Fengji show in that sense, assuming that though Neza does Skyfall on him. But who's like the number one target that he's going to go for? Obviously, it's going to be Feng Jie with the Deranjay or the Nuwa in that mid lane with Xiaoyang on it. But if they go in, I mean, the timing needs to be perfect because you have Masotis and Snow that can just like be like, oh, you're going to jump on our back line. We're going to just body bag you, you know? We're just going to just like knock you around. So they might not have the easiest of times. So Neza, I get it, but actually, is it going to be in the as a roamer?
I think it's a Clash lane.
No,
Clash lane.
No. Okay, it's a Clash lane. No, because the images were throwing him off. It's definitely going to be in the Clash lane for sure with Fable here.
Yeah, Clash lane. As we move on into the potential last game of this series, Paws Gaming already up 2-0. Fable already in a bit of trouble, but of course, he is gonna be kind of okay. He's a Naza after all. He does have the shield value to work with.
Yeah, it looks like Fable right now. Again, I think that the top lane lets Snow get going more than anything else. Fable needs to do a good job of just mitigating and just trying to prevent what Sky is going to do, which is, of course, invade the enemy jungle.
Yeah, right now, no truth mantra available. Sky already having that Crimson Golem buff stolen, and that's going to be a slight advantage going his way, provided he get the clears, and Fearless Esports, they do get the defense going in. Xiaoyang already postured for a bit of aggressiveness here. Yin, in a bit of trouble, has to flash away, and that's one key utility used out. Now, for Paws Gaming, they are applying more pressure towards this middle side of the map. Woodwind might be in a slight bit of a tiffle here. Sky trying to rotate to defend his jungle camp. Myosotis already here. The Matrices is there. Woodwind slightly in danger. First blood still not yet found. As the rest of the team, they are here to defend this Crimson buff.
Yeah, and like both of these teams just like looking to invade. Like it's like, you stole my stuff, I'm gonna steal your stuff, and they tried to be aggressive. And I mean, it was very close. Not enough damage for them to kind of get that first blood. But Sky, this is a huge win for him. This is the time where he needs to really get going. He is your like lifeblood as a team. He's gonna go in right now.
Yeah, ready Ting Lin. He's in a bit of danger. He's able to get the first blood onto Sky, and that's going to be a huge factor. Getting the funneling onto the Pei really accelerates that early game. It really threatens Xiao Yang, and this is what you were saying, right? Xiao Yang, he's a win more hero. So when he starts losing, suddenly that Pei is going to find free food everywhere, and Xiao Yang, he's getting found out right now. Matrix is being used, but Cannon Blast is there. There is no follow-up as Sky is very low.
Yeah, I mean, Sky is actually going to smite it out. I mean, he's been so aggressive. Look at, he knows the red buff. The Crimson Golem is up right now. He's making a beeline for it because he wants to take it as quickly as possible. Masodas, his farming speeds, he's on the dune. He's not going to be as fast. But look at how Xiao Yang has actually rotated and to kind of push him away a little bit. Again, you're just trying to protect your own jungle from Sky, again, with these early jungle invades.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the scalability, but now Feng Jie, he has to use a legal immunity to get out. Leader stance has been popped. No, that's just KK popping out his wolves. But now, with the Cannon Blast, actually catching Feng Jie, he's in a bit of danger. Taz Ting Lin to help him out. And we see Feng Jie becoming a huge factor, especially in later stage of the game. But now that he's on the D Jie, he might be stifled a little bit because KK actually has that lane priority as a channel in that 1v1, right? Having the poke ability coming out from Woodwind in the Cannon Blast, it's gonna be extremely hard to deal with. Now going in with Think Inside the Box, we do see Ting Lin in a bit of a tipple, able to get away, but Cannon Blast able to find the finish.
Yeah, no real chance. I mean, Qinglin actually sacrificed his self for the greater good. He knew that Woodwind was coming, that Think Inside the Box was going to be there, so he's just like, better me than Feng Jie, so he sacrifices himself and keeps Feng Jie alive, which is going to be huge for Paws.
Yeah, rest of the team members here. Unruly Blade Myzotis with the Wind Slash predicts the movement of Woodwind as he gets shut down. Ready Sky is on the job in the back line. Xiao Yang traded out for Woodwind at this point, and Sky will get away scot-free. Well, a bit of damage, but now the objectives are out.
Yeah, the biggest issue right now is that Sky is starting to get a little out of hand, and again, just the early spikes that is the Pei. You know, Paws need to just kind of slow the game down, get it to the mid game, and to just stabilize at this point. Sky will hit like a truck, and Paws Gaming don't really have ways to kind of capture this Tiger, which is a little worrying.
Yeah, KK, at this point, he's going to be able to deal a lot of free damage. Sky really building that Doomsday in this early stage of the game. Now, 4 minutes in, that's a very huge timing for Sky to get the Doomsday, right? So you will have Myzotis as an option, but look at this bottom lane here as Feng Jie, he gets instantly shut down. Annihilation not able to get a consolation. And now for Fearless Esports, for the first time ever, they are 4 kills ahead.
Look, Frenchie, in 3 games, he's died twice now. So I think all in all, okay, Fearless Esports doing a great job of understanding that, hey, we need to kind of put pressure in. Let KK get going. We haven't really seen KK shine as much as he has in previous games because of the fact that, like, Frenchie has just been, like, on another level.
Yeah, Nota using that Skyfall to get away, similar to how Sun Tzu would be played, just that you have a lot more mobility and you have more tank ability, right? Fable getting that Blazing Cape already, 3.1k, but then Axis Torment out from Snow. And we've yet to see a movement from Snow with the Truth Mantra, but Cannon Blast on him at this point. Fable, he not gonna have the ability to burst him down, but of course, getting the lane advantage for the Snow, keeping him here, making sure that Truth Mantra is not available in the team fight, that's gonna layer on that fight.
Yeah, but I mean, look at how Snow is starting to prowl around. Feng Jie died yet again.
Yeah, Feng Jie dying off camera in that bottom lane. Xiao Yang unable to save him despite the fact that they were there. What's a solo kill coming out from KK? Woodwind, he was in that middle lane with a Cannon Blast. So KK actually outscaling Feng Jie for the first time.
Yeah, Feng Jie just hasn't had the greatest time on the D-Range. It's a definitely different class of farm laner. I mean, more of a utility box, not as mobile, high-flying as like the previous Arlie, or even to a lesser degree by the Lady Sun. So he needs to change that play style and kind of adjust. But he's been kind of penalized quite a bit. Like, KK has done a great job of just putting the pressure on, where Feng Jie's like not able to really get away where he normally could have with those other heroes.
Yeah, generally with the legal immunity, you can avoid the damage, but the Truth Mantra comes in onto Yin. Great target prioritization. Lady Zhen already out, no Disruptive Deluge there. But Fearless Esports, they respond with the macro. They lose Yin, but they get the turrets on the top lane. Still a consolation prize, but something nonetheless.
Yeah, and you can see exactly why every team in the WKS just prioritizes the Dharma. Number 1 picked in the entire league. It has a 60% win rate. This is such the flash truth. Boom, you just get your pick off and you just move on with your life. That's a great way to get back in this game.
Yeah, you blink and you miss. Now Ting Lin, he's in a lot of trouble. Finds Sky in the bush. He has Feng Jie backing him up, but he could not account for the level of burst damage that was there. But they had the tower going for them. Similarly, Constellation Prize, we see a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, and this is why most teams don't like playing up against the pay. It just completely dictates everything in this early game. And yes, you're behind. It seems almost like a daunting task to kind of get back in. Sky has done a great job of putting that pressure on. But again, Paws Gaming, they're not out of it. We saw that in game 1. They had that never say die attitude. As long as they continue on and just, yes, towers will be lost, but you just need to get to that mid game.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to the point where Fable is able to match Snow's rotation and really put this Neza to use, right? Because it's more about finding the vision onto Snow, making sure that Truth Mantra is not a problem, and that's what Neza is for. I feel that this pick is very much planned, and for Fearless Esports, whether if they get that Truth Mantra out of the game, that's gonna affect that middle stage. Now, 8 minutes, we are at the mid game, and Fable, he's been doing a great job of man-marking Snow at this point.
Yeah, just forcing him back more than anything else. Snow does not want to play that game where he's looking to just trade one-on-one. Paws Gaming, again, on the defensive, 2.2 down or so. I mean, if we're looking at the farm lane, Feng Jie has always been that MVP, but he is 5K, right? The biggest one, Sky, 8K. This guy has turned it up, been aggressive. He's been stealing everything on the map.
Yeah, you give Sky this monster pick, he's gonna perform. And Paws Gaming, they're feeling the effects of the draft right now. They thought they were ready, and it seems like they are not yet. Now, Myosotis, he's able to tank up the damage, but the rest of the members are not. They're posturing around this tier 2. They want to dive behind. Sky shows himself. Tingling goes in with a jump. Unruly Blade onto Woodwind there. Wind Slash onto 3, but nothing found as KK gets a solo kill onto Feng Jie. Great target prioritization coming out from KK.
KK just making Feng Jie's life difficult, really stepping up in this game 3. We kind of haven't seen too much of KK in the first 2 games, but this is the game where he's like, all right, I'm bouncing back. I'm just focusing it on Feng Jie's going to have a bad game, and he's been struggling, right? So the rest of if we're looking at Paws, like, look, the rest of the lineups, it's kind of like a 4 protect 1 lineup. They don't really have a whole lot of damage as outside of Feng Jie. Xiaoyang, obviously control and a little bit more of like that pick off with that annihilation, just not enough at this stage. The Wind Slash, absolutely amazing there. But again, when Feng Jie dies, you really don't have much in terms of a team fight.
Yeah, but something that I'm worried about for Fearless Esports is they're going to consistently have to use Sky to damage these turrets. And now that they're going to use Sky, wait a minute, Fable, he might be in a bit of trouble, but he's a Nutza. He is able to get out Cannon Blast, able to save him for now. And worried about damage, right? Wow, Fable eventually dies after all. Now, we do have the rest of the team fight going in. Think inside the box being used. Xiaoyang will be that first target. That will be gone. Myosotis, the secondary target. That's the tank. Paws Gaming, they have to retreat. Cannon Blast already fighting Snow. At this point, they want more turns. And I was worried about the damage, but I shouldn't have been. They have the farm to back it up. 5,000 gold advantage, and they are still pressing on.
Yeah, it's a huge lead at this point. But Feng Jie just dying as many times as he has, I think he's died 3 times, has really put this timer even more in a more difficult situation. I was going to say about 14 minutes in, Paws Gaming would be able to kind of fight back. But now, seeing as Feng Jie has died so many times, I'm thinking that timer is close to like 16 minutes and beyond. So Paws Gaming just need to survive in some fashion before they can really take any sort of team fight.
Yeah, capitalization continues. They do get that Zir Golem buff going. Paws Gaming will be greeting an empty jungle as they only have 1 group of creeps left. They have to deal with the lane pressures, but something that I was gonna say is that high ground defense from Paws Gaming is actually very good, right? Nuwa, you do have very good lane clear. You can do it from a safe distance. You just have to worry about the dive.
Yeah. Actually, that's the biggest thing, right? Just that wave clear and just slowing the game down. I mean, Fearless Esports, they'll take the Shadow Overlord here. I don't think that Paws really can kind of contest. But you're putting pressure on the bottom T2, so that's a decent trade. A little bit more space for Paws Gaming to kind of just slow the game down, but they cannot be taking any sort of free damage that they're allowing right now in that top T3.
Oh, that Shadow Overlord coming in extremely clutch. Feng Jie was gonna get his paws on that tier 3. Now we do see Sky coming in. Feng Jie, he's trying to take out the Shadow Vanguard. Feng Jie, he's gonna give up his life here just for that slight bit of map control. Do a 1v5 as Sky. He's potentially gonna go down, but still, Feng Jie, he bought the space. He knew he was gonna die. He just wanted to get the map control.
Yeah, he knew this is a one-way ticket to hell in that sense. But again, provided a little bit more pressure in that bottom lane, alleviate some space in the top lane, and look at how Snow was able to take that top T1. It's the little steps, right? Like the micro steps in just terms of like how to come back in a game. Yes, the farm laner is dead, and that's a huge issue. You probably want somebody else to be doing that split pushing, but I think Feng Jie understands his role in this one of just being able to kind of slow the game down more than anything else because we have wave clear elsewhere.
Yeah, Xiao Yang still providing very good lane clear. If they don't catch him, there is gonna be that magical damage to worry about. Now, Feng Jie, he is out on the top lane. I mean, that def, with that map control, I would say that was a great play. That was the only available play coming out from Paws. With that damage gotten onto the Shadow Vanguard and putting Sky very low, just identifying and making the team members come back, right? It actually secured space for Paws Gaming to clear out the lanes.
Yeah, normally I'm just like, oh, anybody who sacrifices themselves, probably not in his spot, but oops, no.
Yeah, using the truth mantra on the Vanguard there, but Sky, he jumps in. First life already gone. Second life will be gone shortly as well. Will not be able to withstand the damage. A bit too overzealous there as Fearless Esports. Well, suddenly, Paws Gaming, they look like they have a great timing. Myosotis, he wants to go for more, does have the Unruly Blade, but doesn't want to use it on Fable just yet. Wants to find it on either Yin or or Woodwind or KK, right? These are the 3 targets. Fable, he needs to be that key peeling factor right now.
I mean, it's the little things right now, and Sky diving in like that, you don't need that. There is no reason for you to be going for a pickoff onto Snow of all people. Maybe Feng Jie, I get it, right? Because they're definitely squishier, it's going to be much easier, and it's tremendous value of just slowing them down. But like that play with Sage's Sanctuary, now you've lost that cooldown as well. I mean, it's a huge issue right now, and again, Fearless Esports, they can easily throw this lead.
Yeah, now Fable going in with the Skyfall from an opposite angle finds himself in a lot of danger. The rest of the team members really crashing onto him, but know that they cannot kill Fable, but they do get that tier 3 turret. And Fable, he brought that much needed space all for the use of a flash. They get that tier 3, and that's a slow advantage. That's mounted lane pressure towards the top lane.
All right, we haven't seen Paws final form until all T3s are down, right? We learned that in game 1, where they're like, hey, we're okay to like lose everything until that moment, and then they're like, okay, now we have to turn it on. But again, this is a situation where I think that Paws Gaming have kind of largely stabilized, right? You saw that pick off on the Sky, and that was absolutely huge because now he needs to play a little bit scared, and he's looking to do some split pushing on his own.
Yeah, now the problem is for Fearless Esports, their lineup does not have that really much of a frontliner. They don't have the front to back. Meanwhile, for Paws Gaming, they have Myosotis, who will willingly take the team fight with the wind slashes again and again. There's a very low cooldown. There's a very low utility usage on this. Now, they've set their sights onto Fable. He has to use that Skyfall to get away. Meanwhile, Sky, he is forming that split lane pressure on the bottom lane. Snow is there, and they might take the team fight for Fearless off of this. Woodwind extremely low, will fall to the annihilation. Myosotis is low as well, but he's done after all. Does not have the sustainability, but does have the tankability. Xiao Yang now with Snow on bottom lane, applying pressure onto Sky. They found him out with a shutdown onto KK. Woodwind and KK and Yin gone. 3 members already taken out for Fearless Esports. They take segmented team fights, but they win them all.
Oh, that was so bad for Fearless Esports, and I'm just worried for them because they're making so many mistakes, and this is not the characteristics of the Fearless Esports that we know. This is like, you know that Sky is looking to split push. There is no reason for you to be taking any sort of fight. You can feint the fight, but you never really want to be committed in, and now Paws Gaming on Rampage.
Yeah, really, Fable, the only one left. The most tanky member nonetheless, but Woodwind will be up. Cannon Blast not enough to secure that lane control. Woodwind getting knocked out of the game. KK 1 second, but that 1 second too late as Paws Gaming secures the slot into the grand finals.
So again, like you're talking to me about like how will Paws Gaming do on the international stage, assuming that they qualify here, right? They are like, again, even they're able to find ways to get back in. It's the mistakes that the enemy's teams makes where they're able to kind of capitalize and to kind of punish them. Right. And that's a huge win for Paws. And it's got to be really like motivating and just like feeling like super confident knowing that you can be down and you can still find ways to win games. And that speaks again of a championship team.
Yeah, very good mentality, very good. I mean, poise, right? These are the poise of champions where you can see that Paws Gaming when they're down, they don't really think much about whether they're giving up their life. You saw that Feng Jie going down in that bottom lane. That was one of the best plays ever. Getting the damage onto the Shadow Vanguard, people underestimate map control. And these guys, it feels like they are masters of map control. And he knows his death timers. When he respawned, it was just nice to deal with the mounted pressure that was going to come out from Fearless Esports anyway.
Yeah, you're kind of scaring me because you're like, oh yeah, he made a great play, sacrificing his life. And I don't want any of my own farm laners and my own ranked games to be hearing that and being like, oh, it's a good idea to sacrifice. Because, you know, it's a time and place. And I do agree with you that in this case, it was a very good play by Feng Jie. Because again, buying time was key. But it's not a normal thing, not something that you want to be seeing on a constant basis. But again, Feng Jie, somehow the MVP in that game, just again, able to kind of claw their way back and take this game 3.
Dude, this guy might die, but he finds value with death, which is crazy. And like, I can't stress this enough, right? Your HP bars being that resource in the game, that hidden resource in the game that nobody really talks about. Your hero itself is the resource. Some people are so focused on not dying throughout the game where their HP bars, they have to use it. If you're losing in a game, sometimes the only way is to put your foot forward. And for Paws Gaming, they show the best side where they use that HP bars extremely well to formulate the map pressures. It is a puzzle game for them. How are we going to get out of this vice hold? And they use Feng Jie all the way in the bottom lane to drag everybody there.
Yeah, and to be honest, I actually don't see the timer on this one. But look, if you're seeing the moment, right, just how Fearless Esports have complete control of this game and just like stumbled in the very end, it's because the pay lineup is on a strict timer. You must be on the same page with everybody, and you cannot be sacrificing yourself trying to go for a play against like the Dharma Snow, right? Like this is a situation where like you have to make 0 mistakes, you put yourself in a great position and close out games. That is the true power of the pay in that early game.
Yeah, we see some key fumbles coming out from Fearless Esports, and of course, it's always forced by the pressure of Paws Gaming, where, yeah, you're consistently unable to do anything. You can't find kills on Sky. Of course, you're frustrated. And it's all because of this man forming the lane pressures consistently. 2, 4, and 6. I mean, this is not a scoreline of an MVP that we usually see, but this is very unorthodox, right? Playing the map pressure, knowing the macros, knowing the timings, knowing the respawn timers. 36% damage, still dying 4 times.
Yeah, finding ways to just, you know, again, you were talking about value, and there was tremendous amounts of it. And just being able to understand the state of the game, even in a losing situation, and being able to just claw their way back. And if we're looking at the highlights, the first 80% of the highlights that we see is just going to be nothing but Fearless Esports. If you had tuned out, you know, past like the 13 minutes, you're like, oh, this game is over, we shut it down. But again, Pei is an early game hero. It struggles. Once you stabilize, then, you know, as Paws did, they're able to come back.
Yeah, I mean, the points that you put out in the early game is also very pivotal as well. You said that Ting Lin, right, consistently putting his life forward to make sure that he takes the think inside the box, takes the cannon blast, and also Snow, using the truth mantra only when necessary, only when he's finding Yin, and he uses this one time to actually bait Sky in. Like, no truth mantra, never, no problem, because the rest of the team is here anyway, and he uses it so willingly. It's not always for that comeback potential, and for Paws, they found a very good timing with that plays coming through. Like, if you consistently look at the state of the game where they are having vanguards pushed in, you start to see they start to path towards a very unorthodox way as well. You see that Feng Jie, yeah, sure, Sky getting the rampage, but Feng Jie, he's gonna deal with the lane pressures first. Maya Solis goes down, no problem. We will still have the defense going.
Yeah, and this is that play that you were talking about earlier, right? Feng Shi understanding that he's dead no matter what, but he did so much damage to that Shadow Vanguard. I mean, and he almost killed Sky in that one. So Sky was like, huh, I'm feeling a little vulnerable. This is the uncharacteristic play by Sky, trying to go 1v5, trying to get that pick off onto Snow, and then literally throwing away your lead. And from this moment on, that was the tipping point where, look, Fearless Esports, they have 4 members here, right? Look where Sky is. He's split pushing. There is no reason why Fearless Esports should continue this fight. And they stuck around and they found out. Sky gets away on this one and they continue to fight. KK gets picked off here and it turns the entire table here.
Yeah, it feels like very disjointed decisions coming out. Feels like each person making their calls and there's nobody to follow behind for Fearless Esports. It seems like very individualistic gameplay coming out. Meanwhile, for Paws Gaming, they seem very aligned in what they want to do, where when Feng Jie, he was getting that space on the bottom lane, the rest of the team was also pushing out the rest of the lanes and retreated as Feng Jie died. And also with that top lane play of Sky going in, there was that little moment where Fable he was not around to use the Skyfall. They know that, yeah, the Skyfall is not available, and the Truth Mantra have been popped by Snow. And Sky, seeing that the Truth Mantra was popped, he was like, yeah, it's go time. There's no way that he can counter kill me. But little did he know that the rest of the team, they were there waiting at the tower.
Yeah. And that was like that one moment, right? And just like able to kind of just finish the game and able to, again, just close the game out. That's the most important thing. Fearless Esports has struggled. They've stumbled twice at the doorstep of, Paws Gaming. They were not able to do it. And which is a little, again, this is not something that we've seen. Fearless Esports only seem to do this against Paws Gaming, where they're like, oh, it's like a bit of rage when Sky's like, okay, I just want that one kill against Snow. I want that payback. And then you're like, oh, crap, I've just thrown that lead away. And then you saw that shift in that gold graph where everything just changes at that moment. They need to just like rein it in. I think the shot calling needs to be a little bit cleaner, the coordination, and again, just look at how to get to that mid to late game to, again, close out the game when you have a pay.
Yeah, I mean, they did have that pick. They did have that signature Sky pick as well. And I feel that for both teams, we've seen a lot of top tier HOK. We've seen on how they can punish as well. But of course, this cements the fact that Fearless Esports will be going down into the lower brackets, and Paws Gaming secures themselves in the grand finals. They will be one of the top 2 seeds awaiting the next match that will happen tomorrow, which is Fearless Esports going up against Paradise Esports. So that will be a best of 5, and then we will have the grand finals tomorrow where we will find out who goes to KWC. But for those of you guys that are wondering what the hullabaloo is all about, well, I got a bit tongue-tied on that word, right? So yeah, what's it all about? Do follow us on our socials. We will have our official announcements there, and all queries will be solved sooner or later, because all information will be given to you guys once we get all the facts and orders. You can't ask us. We don't know everything.
Yeah, we definitely don't know everything. But again, we just saw a great game. I mean, it was a 3-0 in favor of Paws Gaming. They were able to close out that series in a quick one in that sense. But again, if you're Paradise Esports, you're kind of frothing at the lips and you're like, hey, I want Fearless Esports now. They look like a wounded duck. How are they going to respond in that first series into that lower bracket finals? Tomorrow is the first series before they go into the grand finals. They have an epic task ahead of them, a huge mountain to climb, and potentially going up against Fearless Esports and then going up against Paws Gaming. That might be a tough, tall task in order.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a huge task in order. But of course, all these answers will be found out tomorrow. Thank you guys for tuning into the stream. I'm your caster, Moman. Joined with me is Holler. We're going to end things here. See you guys tomorrow.